Good morning, folks. Normally, I have a little opener for you, but today I would like to repeat some words of wisdom that we got in the happy hour yesterday. Yesterday, I was told, Ryan, bourbon kills the weakest brain cells, leaving only the strongest cells. And that's why you feel smarter after a couple of drinks. Good morning, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's pre-market playbook, this time for Thursday, May 8th. And boy, oh boy, it looks like we're going to have a day here. We had some earnings yesterday. We got some news we want to cover from yesterday. We're going to have jobless claims this morning. We have an impending trade deal here. Futures are up 1% again here in the pre-market. Lots of stuff going on today. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Thursday, May 8th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope y'all are having a great Thursday morning. I hope everyone got rest yesterday and is ready to go today, because I suspect we're going to have a big one here today. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Jane, welcome back. Early bird here today, Jane. I love it. Welcome back. Good to see you. Yassine, early bird as always. Absolutely love to see it. Carvana reversal. Good morning. Shop reversal and Sezzle. So Sezzle is actually on one of the Benzinga movers here this morning. We can take a look at it. I do have a story about Carvana that I already want to talk about, so we'll take a look at the Carvana chart as well. And you had also mentioned Shop, I think, right? Shop reversal. I'll add that to the list, and we'll take a look. No guest today. We're probably not going to have 13 for a little bit later today, so we should be able to max out on charts, and I will do the movers before he gets here, just to make sure that we're up to speed on all of that. Producer, I hope your fingers are ready. I'm going to need your help today. C.A. Forsman, welcome. It's great to see you again. Sebastian, welcome. By the way, that Sezzle, don't forget, that was a big-time Tim Melvin pick many points ago. It's nice to see a Tim Melvin home run still producing. Bobby, good morning. It's great to see you. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Barry the Goat, welcome back. It's great to see you again. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Chuck, welcome back. Judge, welcome back. Hello, Lynn Adams, welcome back. You want to take I didn't have Rocket Lab on my list, but they are doing earnings here. We will take a look at that as well. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Mama Bear, good morning. Great to see you again. Paul, good morning. Rafiki, good morning. Brett, good morning. Producer, you're doing a great job as always. Day Trader, locked in. Good morning. Day Trader, we going to hit 100K in Bitcoin today? Looks like we did in the futures. 100K 470, your high on the CBO futures for Bitcoin. That thing's been an absolute monster. The death of Bitcoin has been greatly exaggerated, it would seem. Great to see you, Day Trader. Neville, welcome back. Good morning. Glass half full. Good morning. Michael, good morning. Seahorse, Masta, good morning. Shan Lu, good morning. Bernhard, E-Rock, Reaching Financial Freedom, good morning. Yasso Fine, good morning. Shant, good morning. Ed, Brandy, let's see, Rooster, Captain Cloudy, Bill. Boy, we got the entire group in here. ATL Russ, let's go. Brett says, I like your shirt. This was a absolute banger of a $12.99 special at Costco. You too can look this good, I promise. Sorry. Graf, good morning. Ralph, good morning. Glenn, good morning. Keep those levels coming. Wiss, we out here. We up in here. Good morning. And Derek, good morning. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Great to see a whole bunch of folks back here today. Let's rip. I'm really excited for today. We're going to set the stage here with the Benzinga morning update. Just as a reminder for all of you out there, the update was released officially, so you don't even have to use the beta site anymore. You can actually use your production site and get access to the morning report. By the way, if anyone is using this, I would love your feedback on it so that we can continue to improve it. Nonetheless, today, as far as the data goes, the initial jobless claims coming at 8:30. We did have some Bank of England rate decisions in the whole 9 yards, but the big one here, at least the U.S. one, is going to be the initial jobless claims. Obviously, yesterday with Powell and the Fed, we held rates unchanged. That was totally expected. We discussed that here. No change there. But let's see what happens with the jobless claims. The big takeaway from the Fed, from Too Late Powell, as he's being called, is that they're going to be data dependent, right? They're in no rush. They're going to wait. In fact, I think Powell said a number of times on there, we're in a good place. And so he doesn't feel rushed. He's clearly not bothered by Trump saber rattling at all. And they're going to keep watching data. So we get a piece of data here this morning, which means we'll be watching that data. Futures, green across the board. As mentioned earlier, S&P futures up another 1% here this morning. They are hanging on to those gains. Some of these pre-market dips pretty much get bought up, so it actually looks pretty good here. We do have two IPOs here today. I believe this is AII. Let me confirm that. Yep, AII, American Integrity Insurance, and is going to IPO here today. And AHL, Aspen Insurance Holdings. Those are going to be your IPOs here today. We do have a couple of other events here. There is one that I think is notable here. We had the Milken conference recently. Some of those stocks that were there, I'm not sure how much they actually moved. We do have the annual shareholder meeting for several companies here. The Citizens Life Sciences Conference is still going on. That was going on yesterday as well. But the other thing here is that this ticker, PRCH, Porch Group, they actually reported earnings yesterday and traded up like 60%. They have a bunch of conferences like the Needham Technology, Media, and Consumer Conference, as well as a couple of road shows here today. So trading up on a legit catalyst a lot, and also having a bunch of road shows. If you scroll down this list, there's a bunch of them in here. So I don't have any position or any trade on this, but we had a huge move yesterday, which means there's a lot of relative volume in there. PRCH, Porch Group. Put that on your watch list for today. At a minimum, we'll check in on that and see how it's going. A lot of different conferences here today for some of these stocks. Continue to go here. We did have some analyst initiations. I don't think there's anything huge here. Probably the biggest one is the one on Sono from Rosenblatt. I've never traded Coherent, so I have no feel for how important that is. It is up 6+%. So keep that in mind, but not a whole lot of initiations here. The downgrades here, MCRB. This is one that we actually traded several months ago on a rumor of a merger. 13 did some digging and thought maybe they could merge with Nestle or whatever it was. Anyway, this stock did a recent reverse split. It actually caught a downgrade here today. It has not performed well. Just wanted to highlight that. Nothing on the upgrade front. And then we have a bunch of earnings here today. Starting with this list here, PSEC is on here. This is a monthly dividend payer. I think that there are several folks in here that ended up buying this a while ago. I can't remember exactly when. I've had this for a long time. I've had this for over a year now. It pays monthly. Every time it's gone down, I've added a little bit to it. It's really not a huge position, but it continues to pay on a monthly basis. Nonetheless, they have earnings here today. And then as far as some of the other earnings, here you go. We did have Shopify here this morning. Tonight, we've got Monster. That's probably the biggest one, I would guess. Maybe Cloudflare. That's going to fit into our cybersecurity theme. So maybe we take a look at that. But we're kind of the big earnings here were earlier this week. So that's pretty much what we got. Thank you, Morning Report. And by the way, for any of you that want to use this, don't forget you can click the gear cog at the top, and this will load every time automatically, and it will be stored up here in your layout along the top with your workspaces. Okay, let's dive into the SPY now and take a look at where we are at. So, couple of interesting things have happened. First of all, one of the things that we've been talking about all week here are going to be closes above important levels. Every day this week, we have closed above that 50-day moving average. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes above the 50-day. That is absolutely strong support now. It almost feels like a long time ago when the market was selling off and we were testing some of the lows and, oh my God, all this bad stuff was going to happen. It turns out that didn't happen, at least not yet. Now, we've actually closed above the 50-day moving average several times. We'll see what happens with this trade deal announcement today. I think that's going to set the stage for a lot going forward. there's definitely truth to the fact that a deal with a country like China is probably going to hit way more hard than a deal with the UK or with Britain, which is what we're expecting here today. So we'll see how this all shakes out. I want to see the reaction to it. We'll talk about some of the trades. As far as the broader market goes, I actually took a hedge yesterday as we continue to trade up after the Fed into the close. I took a hedge on some SQQQ calls. We got news that Trump was going to rescind one of those chip things that he. Let me actually get the headline for you. I actually know where it is, so I should be able to read it. Trump to rescind global chip curbs amid AI restrictions. That headline sent technology going higher. I actually took some SQQQ as a hedge in case we sell off here today. If that expires worthless, no big deal. Oh, by the way, I also still carried in the CEP short that we talked about earlier this week. So the remainder of that, carried it in, saw that it was gapping up here today and it got hit a little bit. We'll see how CEP does. The other thing that happened here on SPY is that we had a very short-term trend line that we broke yesterday and closed above. So we got a nice looking formation there on that candle, broke above this trend line. Now today, again, up another 1% here. 566.72 is our current price here. It looks like we're going for this 200-day moving average. So key levels right away here on the SPY, 573.20, absolutely going to be one of those key levels. Let's see if we can get up to and perhaps trade above that 200-day moving average. You'll also notice that the 100-day moving average is only 3 points ahead of that, up there at 576. We'll see if that comes into play here again as well. Things looking pretty good. Downside spots here for today. Well, first of all, it's going to be this trend line. I have this trend line eyeballed at about 558. If we really fall from where we're at now to 558, that would be notable. That also lines up with yesterday's lows, right? 558 right in here. We really kind of bounced off of this line yesterday. We'll see where that is. Here's the actual trend line itself. If we extend this a little bit more, this is kind of what we're looking at here today, right? Maybe 556 would be one of those important levels. If we go back to the daily, obviously 554.50, which is going to be that 50-day moving average. We'll see if we get down there. We also have this 20-day curling up pretty good. It'll be really interesting to see what we do here. And don't forget, we had a death cross on April 11th. We had one move down to the 500 and a pretty significant bounce. So let's see if this all turns around. RSI here right in no man's land. This could really go either way. Okay, that's what I got there on the SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of quotes here. We'll take a look at a couple of stats here. I just want to kind of recap real quickly what happened yesterday. U.S. stock futures rose on Thursday after 2 days of advances on Wednesday. Futures of major benchmark indices were higher in the pre-market. This followed the Federal Reserve holding steady at 4.25 to 4.5 on Wednesday. The tariff increases announced so far have been significantly larger than anticipated, end quote. That came from Jerome Powell. He noted that if the tariffs are sustained, this could lead to higher inflation, weaker growth, and a rise in unemployment, directly undermining the Fed's dual mandate. Quote, we don't think we need to be in a hurry. We are going to be watching the data. It may move quickly or slowly, but we are well positioned to wait. So again, we've heard data dependent from the Fed. This is a little bit more of a drawn out comment saying pretty much the same thing. They are not going to go early. He is not going to be intimidated by Trump. They are going to continue to look at data. Nobody should be surprised at this even a little bit. 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.31%. The 2-year was at 3.82. We'll talk about Uber when we get there a little bit later. Urian Timmer, director of global macro at Fidelity Investments, offered a simple yet thought-provoking approach to navigating this uncertainty. He suggested considering whether to take long or short positions based on the index's historical performance. Analyzing the technical patterns, Trimmer concluded that establishing or increasing long positions appeared to be the more favorable strategy. Boy, you needed to do all of that to figure that out. I mean, the market's rigged. Look at almost any chart. From left to right, it goes up. Pick quality companies, put time on your side. Come on, this isn't groundbreaking. Scott Wren, the senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo, stated in his weekly note, quote, further near-term upside in the S&P 500 index is likely limited. So we've had a pretty nice bounce, says that might be near the end of the bounce here, and we expect to see more downside volatility before tariff uncertainties are resolved. Now, with the news of a deal here today, let me be very clear. I don't think that's going to resolve the tariff. What did he call it here? Tariff uncertainties. I don't think that's going to resolve it, but it is one more cog in the system. The administration, Trump and others, have been saying that there's multiple ready to go. So we'll soon see if that's true here. Looks like we're going to start with one about 10 a.m. Eastern time here today. According to Ryan, central bankers keep telling us that they're data dependent. That means Chair Powell and other voting Federal Open Market Committee members need to see the data that tells the Federal Reserve that the labor environment is weak. So basically what he's reiterating here is that we actually need some weakness here, right? We need to see some weakness so the Fed can see the data and then make a decision. Basically saying that, hey, without more volatility tests here, without some more downside, we're probably not going to get these rate cuts that we're all hoping for. In the meantime, quote, in the meantime, we're looking into 2026 and seeing economics and earnings recovery. But you don't say, I thought the world was ending. That's so crazy that you're seeing recovery. Nonetheless, for now, while volatility remains the likely headline, we prefer to focus on quality like large and mid-cap U.S. equities and favor energy, communication services, information technology, and financial sectors. Boy, aren't you folks all trading these sectors? I'm pretty sure that you guys and gals, talk about energy almost every day, communication services almost every day, information technology. I mean, do I even need to say anything? We look at tech stocks more than any other type of stock here, and financials. There's been a recent taking to some of the banks recently from some of the group. Looks like we're in the right spot here. So I am entirely unsurprised to see our group really getting it done. There you go. That's your breakdown for the broader market. Now let's talk about some individual things. We're going to start with the Apple Google headlines that we got yesterday. In fact, we can start with the chart. Why not? Let's break up some of that text there. We're going to take a look here at Apple first. You can see Apple actually fell yesterday. The big thing here on Apple, we're still under this downtrend line that we've been looking at. When we talked about, hey, where's the ad spot for Apple? Where is the spot where you can buy Apple and hold it for more than 5 minutes? We really kind of deduced that it's between this 155 and 165 area that I've denoted with purple here. So we'll see if we get back down there on that move. The trend line is clearly pointing us to that direction. We'll see if we go there. Now, Apple was down 1.14% yesterday, and this was on some news that they're going to look into AI instead of Google search. Remember, Apple receives $20 billion per year for making Google the default search browser. Now it looks like they're going to look into some AI search. So here, let's take a look at the story. We'll come back to the chart. We'll also take a look at Google. And yes, I did take a trade on this piece of news. I'm long Google. We'll cover that trade here in a sec as well. Apple's stock dipped 2.1%, to 194, while Alphabet shares plunged 5.7%. It was actually down closer to 8% at one point, which is one of the reasons for the trade. We'll get to that. Bloomberg. As reported by Bloomberg's Apple Senior Vice President of Services, Eddie Q, testified in a U.S. antitrust trial on Wednesday that the company is, quote, actively looking at integrating AI-powered search into its Safari, its default web browser. Now, you guys all know I do have a MacBook Pro. I have used Safari in exactly 3 times. I don't like Safari as a browser. I actually prefer Chrome or some other browsers, but that's neither here nor there. Q indicated that Apple is evaluating alternatives like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Perplexity AI, the companies behind popular AI tools like ChatGPT, Cloud, and Perplexity Assistant. On my MacBook, actually, I use ChatGPT and Perplexity quite often. So to me, this is really not a big deal at all. He noted that Safari searches declined for the first time last month, citing AI tools as the key reason. Is anyone surprised that traditional search browsers are getting used less as AI continues to proliferate and make headlines in literally every news cycle? I mean, I'm not. Though Q said Google should remain Safari's default search engine for now, especially given the estimated $20 billion annual revenue Apple receives from the deal, he acknowledged that AI represents a major industry shift. I don't think anyone here is arguing that. The Apple executive believes emerging AI platforms could eventually outperform traditional search, adding that Apple has already begun talks with Perplexity. Alphabet investors responded sharply to the news, likely concerned that Google's long-term search dominance, which has faced increasing threats amid the emergence of AI tools. So I go to you. Do you think that this is really important? Do you think the stats that we're seeing about search and Apple's decision here are important? Here is how I played that. Taking a look at Google. We're going to start on the daily chart before we dive into the smaller time frame chart. Look at what we got here. Google actually had the formation here, the start of an inverse head and shoulders. Okay, so it came up. We actually found resistance at the 50-day moving average. Then we broke above the 50-day moving average. Then we closed above that moving average several times. And this news story broke us out of that, but look what it did. We've been using trend lines here quite a bit recently, and we added another one here on Google. The sell-off went right down to that trend line. Now, here's the thing, down 7.5%, 7.51%, yesterday on Google. My thought here on this is pretty simple. My thought is, and I'm going to borrow a term from one of my mentors whom I have followed since like 2014. He calls on really good companies like this, he calls these big outsized moves to the downside idiot drops. And maybe I'll be wrong about this. I suspect that this is an idiot drop. I understand the news. First of all, as far as the Apple thing goes, I actually think Apple's more at risk. That's a $20 billion annual revenue stream that they're going to voluntarily forego. It's $20 billion less to the bottom line for Apple. That's $20 billion that Google doesn't have to pay out. I have a hard time seeing that that's a massive negative. We'll see what some of the search numbers end up doing. Google's got a lot of different ways to get eyeballs and to get clicks. So I'm not on the surface terribly worried about that. I do kind of think that this is an overreaction. And technically speaking, on this chart, actually sent us to a pretty good spot. So the way I played this, let me reset this chart so we can see it. Here's what it looked like yesterday, right? We got that news and Google did nothing but sell off. Now it did bottom out here at 150. I ended up adding this position here about 151. It was closer to 152. I bought the next week 160 calls for Google. So I think Google can continue to bounce back. We've actually seen this on some other stocks that have recently reported earnings that have bounced back pretty quickly. I think we'll get that here. And I am pleased to announce that we are up $4.50 from adding that position. So I didn't go crazy on this position, but it should be a pretty good one. I also kind of offset this by hedging with some SQQQ. That will probably get obliterated today unless something else happens here. Both of those option contracts are for next Friday. So we've got the rest of this week and all of next week. We'll see how it goes. The Google one here looking pretty good, though. So my thought here, again, just to kind of summarize, sure, there might be a near-term hit here. I really don't think this is going to affect Google. It's not going anywhere. It's way too embedded even in work systems. I mean, we use the Google Suite here at Benzinga all the time. So I just think that this was kind of overdone. We're playing a short bounce back on that. Okay, I want to finish off this whole thing here with Apple and Google. Market giants Alphabet and Apple saw their stocks tumble. We just talked about that. We talked about Eddie Q's. Here we go. This is the other quote that I want. And by the way, I'm sorry about these tweets not coming up. I actually have testing out a new ad blocker via my VPN, and it, for whatever reason, is blocking some of these tweets. AI is eating search. And this comes from Perplexity's CEO. Yeah, I don't think he'd be like, yeah, we released this AI tool, but it's not all that great. No, of course he's going to say it's eating search's lunch. Of course. I mean, come on, that should be a given. As his company positions itself as a contender in the evolving search landscape, Dan Niles, founder of Niles Investment Management, highlighted on X that that the drop in Safari search activity aligns with Google's recent performance, where year-over-year growth in paid clicks slowed to 2% in the first quarter of 2025, down from 5% in the same period last year and 8% in early 2023, following the rise of ChatGPT. A recent 9 to 5 Mac comparison showed Perplexity, quote, clearly outperforming or is at parity, end quote, with Apple's Siri and OpenAI and ChatGPT. This mirrors my experience. I think Perplexity and ChatGPT have been the best AI tools that I've used so far for what I tried to do. Shout out to Cloud, however it's pronounced, which does a really good job sounding like human writing. But for search and for kind of research and digging stuff up, I've had really good experience with Perplexity and ChatGPT. Niles predicted that companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity, and XAI will continue taking market share from the traditional search, with AI agents accelerating this trend. Perplexity, backed by Jeff Bezos and NVIDIA, has gained momentum with recent Android launches and a SoftBank partnership, deploying 7,000 sales team members to drive enterprise adoption in Japan. We'll see where some of these things go as well. Okay, Eric is saying, I rarely touch Google anymore. AI is my go-to now. Sanctuary City says, I also enjoy messing with the Microsoft Copilot. Now, Microsoft Copilot, that is not one that I have any experience with. I'm interested in what you think about that. Shant says, it's FUD. Google is a great company. So I think that the stats that they're giving here are accurate. I don't necessarily think that it's, they're just making stuff up. It's not like it's the Russia collusion hoax. Am I right? But there is some knock-on effects that we really need to be wary of. The larger part of what you're saying here, I think, is entirely true, right? Google is a great company. It's an absolute monster. I think a -8% move on this search thing, probably overdone. Probably overdone. Day Trader saying, I'm using Microsoft Copilot more and more each day. Awesome. I guess what I'm saying here with the trade is that, at least for a short-term trade, the using more AI instead of search is not going to bury that trade. We'll see. Okay, next here, let's talk App AppLovin. We're actually going to start with the chart because, boy, oh boy, what a day AppLovin had. Lion Atlas, let me tell you something, man. I'm really sorry that you got locked out of your truck yesterday. Actually, I don't give a damn about you getting locked out of your truck. What I'm sorry about is that you were unavailable when all of this stuff really started to happen. You were tied up with something more important. I shouldn't say that you were unavailable. Shout out to you for still trying to watch the show, even dealing with an issue here. What happened yesterday when you couldn't hear us? There was a follow-up by Muddy Waters, a short house that put out a short report. What was that, a couple of months ago on app? The same one. Apparently, the CEO and the CTO responded via a blog to that short report. In that response, they outlined a number of things that they said were incorrect. And Muddy Waters responded yesterday. This was the news that we got yesterday in the pre-market, that they are demonstrably lying, meaning that they were going to demonstrate in their document that both of these people were lying. Now, first of all, AppLovin immediately sold on that in the pre-market here, right? It immediately sold down, went from about 308 down to 294. It bounced a little bit in the pre-market, but it stayed relatively flat throughout the session. I mean, we've seen this stock go bananas before. So the action yesterday kind of seemed relatively flat by comparison. This was notable because the company was going to report earnings in the afternoon. Well, we got those earnings. The thing immediately sold off, and then it ended up ripping. And look where it ended up ripping to. All right, let's go back to the daily chart here. This 350 line, this area has been extremely important since November of last year, and we went right to it. Literally went right to it. Today, we're holding here plus 14.5% at 347.50. App sure looks like this wants to move higher. Let's see what happens if we test this 350. Not only are we setting up here for a potential breakout above 350, but this pop took us above the 100-day. The recent move off the lows had taken us above the 50-day. We kind of bounced off of that 500-day. So app's actually set up here pretty good to maybe go further. Now, Lion, the reason that I bring you into this is because I believe, if I recall correctly, when this had first happened, you were buying leaps for app on the back of that short report. If anyone traded it yesterday, boy, the short report that brings us down, this It seems like a buying opportunity. It's hard to really argue with that. It really seems like a buying opportunity. We got another one yesterday, right? Thing got sunk in the pre-market all day. It traded around flat and then bang, huge move in the after hours. So let me know how you traded it, if you traded it, how that ended up working for you. Was really good to see this. Was really good to see this. It was really good to see the move after hours. I think it was implying a 14.4. Let's see here, implying a 17.4% move. We ended up getting a 14.5% move, at least as we sit here in the pre-market. So we'll see how this finishes here today. App looking pretty good. Now, let's take a quick look here. I'm going to go over some of this. I'm going to try to breeze through this here. As far as the earnings go, App reported first quarter revenue of $1.48 billion. That beat the analyst estimates of $1.38 billion. The company reported first quarter earnings of $1.67 per share. That beat the $1.45 per share. So a nice healthy beat, both the top and the bottom line there. Total revenue up 40% year over year. Advertising revenue plus 71% year over year. And App's revenue declined 14% year over year. Cash flow from operations, $832 million in the quarter, and free cash flow came in at $826 million. AppLovin ended the quarter with approximately $550 million in cash and cash equivalents. So pretty good report there. No question about it. AppLovin is also announced that it entered into a definitive agreement to sell mobile gaming business to privately held Triple Dot Studios for $400 million in cash. Combined with a 20% ownership stake in Triple Dot, the transaction is expected to close in the second quarter. Okay. AppLovin expects second quarter advertising revenue in the range of $1.195 billion to $1.215 billion. The company anticipates second quarter advertising adjusted EBITDA of $970 million to $990 million. AppLovin executives will further discuss that. Was their conference call. So actually a pretty decent report here, really saying stuff it to the short report and the folks trying to bring this down. I'll be interested. I don't have a position in this, so I have no skin in the game in this, unfortunately, but I am definitely interested in how this shakes out here today. No question. STFU saying 362 is also where it rejected post-market yesterday. That seems to be one of the big levels here today. There we go. And yeah, Rafiki, stop spamming. In fact, here is your only warning. Please stop spamming about Clove. Nobody cares. Thanks. Now, going on here, let's talk a little bit about Tesla. We'll actually go back to the Tesla chart here real fast. We'll start with the Tesla chart here. We are still trying to get above the 200-day. This has been really since we came down to this price level and started trading sideways here. This 200-day has absolutely been an upside resistance area that we're trying to get over. Did we get the data? We did. Thank you, producer, for reminding me. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. We'll come back to Tesla here in a sec. Let's go ahead and clear this off here. Okay. U.S. non-farm productivity quarter over quarter minus 0.8 versus the minus 0.4 estimate. U.S. jobless claims 228,000 versus the 231,000 estimate. So a slightly light number there. Prior read was 241K. S&P futures here ticking up, it looks like, from this print, but very minorly. S&P futures holding higher here by 0.92%. So just above 0.9. So that data print out of the way here. Market not getting crushed on it, at least not yet here. Actually trading up a little bit. All right, let me go back to the chart. So anyway, one of the big things that we have been trying to do with Tesla is get above and stay above this 200-day. We've actually made several tests at that recently. We'll see if we get another one here. One of the other things that I want to do is I actually want to extend this trend line out. We'll see if we end up interacting with that trend line. So we want to get above this 200. That value's 290, 279. We've really struggled with that so far. Here's the Tesla story. Tesla bull Ross Gerber floats a Rivian acquisition idea. So right off the top here, I'd love to know, does anyone think that this is a good idea or not? Number one, is buying Rivian a good idea for Tesla? If you're a Tesla shareholder, I especially want to know. I don't see how buying a company that loses $1 billion a quarter is a good idea just because it's another EV. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense about that. But anyway, that's just me. What happened? On Wednesday, prominent Tesla bull and fund manager Ross Gerber shared a post on X suggesting that the EV giant acquire its rival, Rivian. Quote, maybe at some point it just makes sense for Tesla to buy Rivian, end quote. Okay, maybe at some point, bro, like do a little bit more due diligence, don't you think? I feel like you could there. That's fairly general quote. Gerber wrote in a brief and ambiguous post. Okay, so even the writer there is saying that's good stuff. Well, he didn't elaborate on what the point might be. I actually, who's the writer on this? Like, a Vishal. I owe Vishal a beer because this is exactly how I would have wrote it. That's pretty awesome. While he didn't elaborate on what the point might be, the comment quickly sparked debate on X with users weighing in on both strategic logic and potential pitfalls of such a move. Yeah, he threw out an opinion on Twitter, and then people started arguing about it. Stop me if you've heard that before. I bet I could go out there and be like, I love ice cream. And someone will fight me on it. Someone will come up with a reason why it sucks. Anyway, when a user commented that it doesn't make sense since, quote, Rivian has nothing proprietary that Tesla needs, end quote, Gerber responded bluntly saying that they have a truck people will buy, taking a shot at Tesla's Cybertruck, which is currently grappling with poor sales. So 13, good Lord. Producer, do we want to run a poll on this? I think let's run a poll. You can come up with the responses, but should Tesla buy Rivian? Or would that make sense here? Let me know. Let's run that poll. Let's see what kind of responses we get from that. Others, including fund manager Richard Todaro, have voiced concerns about Rivian's reliability. Quote, I like the look of their SUVs, but Rivian SUVs have low reliability, end quote. Citing the company's low score of 14 out of 100 in Consumer Reports. Oh, I actually didn't even know it was that low. I've been getting told by people all over the place, the Rivian truck is awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. 14 out of 100. 14 out of 100. 13. Glad you were there to see that. Glad you were there to see that. Despite being an ardent Tesla bull, remember Ross Gerber has been very critical of the company because of Elon Musk. He has definitely got TDS. He hates Trump, and the fact this must be a very difficult time for him with the CEO of a company he's been extremely bullish on and pretty much been leaning his entire career on to be going the other way. Prayers up for Ross there. Just last month, Gerber said that the company needs to work to separate itself from Musk before adding that now it might be too late, citing the brand damage and acts of protest and violence that the company and its customers have endured due to Musk's growing political involvement. Yeah, I'm going to call BS on that one. Y'all are welcome to take the other side of that. I'm going to call BS on that. That's absurd. Rivian scores well on growth and momentum while sporting a favorable price trend in the short, medium, and long term. How does that shake up to Tesla in the long run? We will have to see about that. Okay. HG says, besides the Roadster, all of Tesla cars are ugly. Yo, unpopular opinion, but I agree with you. I think that the technology is cool. I'm all for advancing technology, but man, oh man, the Tesla cars just don't do it for me. And furthermore, that Cybertruck, we just talked about the Cybertruck. He was taking a shot there at the Cybertruck. That thing might be one of the ugliest cars I ever saw. Just throwing it out there. I know I might be in the minority, but man, oh man. Now the stock, Tesla's stock is an absolute monster, and that thing moves all over the place. I wish I was better at trading it, to be quite honest with you. I really do. Okay, another Apple story here real quick. With how much time do we got? We're still good. Apple warns of hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in losses over an Epic Games ruling. This is actually something that we've talked about before. I don't know how much in depth we've gone into. I've never placed a trade around this stuff before. Apple, 197 here in the pre-market. It closed at 196. So it looks like it's given back a lot of the gains that it saw when the market popped in the after hours as kind of a broad thing. We'll see how Apple does here today. It expressed apprehension over the potential financial consequences of a contempt ruling in favor of Epic Games. The tech giant warned that this ruling could lead to, quote, substantial, end quote, financial losses. Apple is concerned about the financial implications of said court ruling, hence it is seeking a stay on the order. Okay. Judge Rogers' new ruling broadens earlier decisions by ordering the Tim Cook-led company to immediately stop charging commissions on iPhone app purchases made through web links within apps, along with other changes. In reaction to the contempt ruling, Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney suggested a peace deal. He stated that Epic Games would introduce Fortnite to the App Store and abandon all litigation if Apple relaxed its App Store's rules. Okay, so it looks like it's trying to bargain here. On Wednesday, Sweeney stated that battling Apple over the past 5 years has cost the company over $1 billion, but it believes it was worth it. The ruling came in the wake of a U.S. court order that found Apple in violation of an injunction against anti-steering practices. Following this, Epic Games-backed Tencent Holdings proposed to bring back Fortnite to the App Store, providing Apple meets several of those conditions. Now, I'm not being somebody that doesn't have an iPhone. I very rarely use the App Store, so I'm going to need to lean on you folks for that. What do you think about the App Store? Do you pay for stuff a lot? Do you feel like you're getting ripped off? How does it work? How do you feel about it? I'm curious. Besides the reintroduction of Fortnite to the App Store, it could also have some significant implications for the gaming industry. Apple shares have declined 19.2% year to date in 2025, but are still up 7.3% over the past 12 months. Let me know if this moves the needle for you on Apple. Okay, let's go back to the chart here real quick. I don't want to blow you away with too much news here, but I did want to get through all of that. Let me see. Okay, we got the spammers out of here. That's great. Sorry that took me so long, folks. Hims is selling. Let's actually talk about Hims here real quick. So Hims has been on a monster run, and actually this is kind of funny. Yesterday, in happy hour, I said the case for the inverse Head and Shoulders is officially done, to the point where I am deleting it off my chart. So I had a left shoulder here, I had a head here, and I had a right shoulder here that I had drawn preemptively, thinking that Hims might trade into this formation. Well, it didn't do that. It actually had a whole bunch of expanding volume. We ripped through the 50-day moving average as well as the trend line. We continued to print new highs. We had all the huge run here on Hims. What's going on now? You guessed it. We had an offering. So Hims doing an offering here sunk the stock from about 53.5. It looks like just shy of that, down to $50 handle. Him and hers. Let's see. Nope, that was the CTO. Here we go. Him and hers announces proposed convertible senior notes offering to accelerate the global expansion and utilization of AI in healthcare. Okay. Him and hers health announces his intention to offer, subject to market and other conditions, $450 million aggregate principal amount of convertible senior notes due in 2030. This sent Hims down. So let me ask you then, is this good long? Do you agree? Are you happy that Hims is raising more money in order to focus on long term? What do you think about this here? Is this tradable? Because we've seen some of these companies that do offerings that have clearly been executing. The offering ends up getting bought. So that's what I'm wondering here. I have no position myself. So I'm wondering, is this buyable down here around $50, currently at 50.70? You tell me. You know what, producer? Maybe that's another thing. Maybe we don't need a poll on that. But let me know. I'm curious to see if anyone is buying Hims on this pullback here today. I'd love to know that. Izzy saying, Ryan, crazy question. Market up on Powell not seeing cuts and no progress on China. The market is up on the announced trade deal that's happening here at 10 o'clock in the morning. The market was kind of choppy. In fact, if we go back to the SPY, we can put up a graphical representation of that and look at it together here. Here you go. So here was your announcement, right? 1 o'clock, right in here. So it was choppy, right? It moved down to the trend line. It moved up a little bit. It came back in. It really didn't do a whole lot, to be quite honest with you. And it's really kind of holding there. Now it did pop on the chip thing that we talked about. So, oh, for heaven's sakes, Ryan, you gotta stop clicking on the wrong things here. It makes for a poor user experience. Here we go. It did pop. Market popped on this. Trump to rescind global chip curbs amid AI restrictions. And then we also got news that, hey, there was a deal coming. We don't have the details of that, so I don't want to get too excited until I look at the details of that. But that's why the market is up here. Izzy, just kind of looking ahead here and asking myself some questions. Are you looking to maybe put on some market shorts based on this? You let me know. What are you thinking here? Trade with EU is not huge news. Agreed. I want to, there's a couple of things here. Number one, I want to see how the market treats this, because I agree with you. EU is not the same as China. The China deal might take a little bit longer, and I think that's okay. But I also want to see the details of the deal itself, right? I'm not just going to be like, oh yeah, this is great, let's put party on, full port long here. No, let's see it. Let's see it. We're going to keep being tactical in the meantime, but let's see it. And let's see then if we can also extrapolate what we might see in future deals. They also mentioned yesterday when they were talking about this that there's a bunch of other pretty much done deals on the table. Be interesting to see if that materializes either. Okay. Buy pullbacks, Izzy is saying. Okay. Ed saying it's a pump and dump. Boom. We'll see how this ends up shaking out. Looks like the S&P futures did pull here a little bit post that print. I'm not sure if it was on that print. Maybe a little bit of digesting that. Did anything else happen here? Non-farm pay. Nope. Jobless claims watching S&P futures. Reuters reports a joint statement issued. Here we go. Joint statement issued from Russia and China calling for other nations to drop sanctions and military pressure on North Korea, deemed to accelerated the purchase of long-range missiles by allies or nuclear-armed countries with military alliances to be provocative. Russia confirms its commitment to the One China principle and recognizes that Taiwan is an integral part of China. That is why the market is selling off. Not good news. We'll see how that ends up happening. I did see a piece of news floating around yesterday. Didn't verify it or look into it anymore. That quote came out that Trump was going to be harder on Russia going forward here. This, I would imagine, this would probably kick that up. We'll see. All right. Trade deals take years. Makes you wonder what kind of deal the UK and the US are signing. Exactly, Hans. I want to see what the specifics of that are. But again, we've got plenty of time. We got plenty of time to do that, and we'll see how that shakes out here. 10 o'clock is when we get that. I don't know when we'll get all of the details on that. Okay. There you go. Shan saying, I can't trust it. Trump always makes a big thing out of nothing. So totally get it. But the Trump volatility here, we've been playing that back and forth, and we will continue to do so. UK is not EU. Is that reference to me or someone else? Producer had said that too. Trade with the EU is not huge. Oh, you might have been responding to Izzy. Maybe I missaid it here. The deal is with Britain. Let's just make it easy there. The deal today, the 10 o'clock conference here, is going to be with Britain. Anyway, sorry about that. Dame here, I think that, or Damo saying they've been negotiating for 3 years. So to all of you that think trade deals take years, saying they've been working on that. Okay, let's see. What time is it here? I think we're probably good. Maybe we should do the movers. I do have some more stuff. We could talk about Carvana. You know what? I'm going to do this news story first, and then we'll go into the movers here. I can't remember exactly when we expect 13, but I know we do expect him here at some point. Let's first start with the Carvana chart, shall we? CVNA. Here's what happened yesterday, right? So reported earnings dipped, went red, green, and actually a little bit of continuation here today. That's encouraging to see. Couple of the other things that we were taking a look at in happy hour when we talked about Carvana yesterday. Number one, we do have this trend line that we've kind of set up here. And we also have the makings of a head and shoulders set up here. Now we'll see what happens today, because maybe we get another pattern here invalidated. But it sure looked like if we do kind of hold this area and really don't go much higher than this, remember these drawings are just eyeballed, it might be that the next move here is down. At least that's what the chart is saying. Let's see if the chart gets invalidated, because we do have a news story here that might be saying something else. Carvana CEO believes tariffs could benefit used cars as it achieves long-term profitability goals years ahead of schedule. I guess, remember, this would also help Root, would it not? the insurance that Carvana uses. Anyway, used car retailer Carvana reported better than expected first quarter results, and the company's CEO hinted that tariffs could be beneficial for used cars going ahead. Carvana achieved its long-term profitability goal years ahead of schedule as the company reported an 11.5 adjusted EBITDA during the first quarter, hitting a target projected in 2018 for a much larger stage. Company CEO Ernie Garcia highlighted during its 2018 Analyst Day that analysts projected a long-term EBITDA margin range of 8 to 13.5% at a time when our actual adjusted EBITDA margin was negative 9%. So that was good forward looking there. For the last 4 consecutive quarters, we have been in that range, and in Q1, in a seasonally weaker quarter, we're reporting 11.5%. While acknowledging that tariffs could drive up new car prices, Garcia said that used car prices could be less affected. Quote, it may be a directional benefit to used cars, and it may be a benefit to business models that are able to offer value to consumers, which is a business model we think we fit in that box, end quote. So there you go. Carvana significantly outperformed Wall Street's expectations in the first quarter, reporting revenue of $4.23 billion against the consensus estimate of $9.3 billion. And then it's also worth noting here, Benzinga Edge. So it's got a high rating for momentum, low ratings for everything else, but a positive short, medium, and long-term trend. That is ticker CVNA. So we'll see how that one shakes out here today. Okay, let's dive into the movers. Let's see what's moving along here today. We can plan for what we're going to do here today. I'm going to flip over to my movers tab, and we're going to start right at the top with Jay-Z. Here we go. Jay-Z. Giant Z Educational Tech. This is going to be one of those China EDUs. Be very, very careful with this one. Stock's up 190%. It looks like it was up way more than that earlier. Let's actually measure that just for the lulz. Was up 469%. I don't see any news here. This to me seems like a China pump. I would be extremely careful with this mover here. Quick look around the board. Short interest, 0.1% of the float shorted here. Pretty much nothing. 1.39 days to cover. Stock on average trades 7,000 shares. Good Lord, this thing is a ghost town. Today, it's already trading 12 million. Look, use technicals if you want, but be careful on this one. This is moving on no news here today, and it is the biggest mover of the day. Next here, we're going to talk about ASST. Now, this one was on deck from yesterday. This was a monster. Congrats again to everyone that played ASST yesterday. Just an absolute monster move. And we're getting a little bit of continuation here today. So nice little pop here. Asset entities to merge with Strive Asset Management to form the first publicly traded asset management Bitcoin treasury company. This was the news that we got yesterday. Looks like we're getting a little continuation of that news here today. The one thing that we drew yesterday when we took a look at this was this trend line. And again, if we look inside, boy, oh boy, we took that out right at the end of the day and continued here today. So key levels here for today. Well, you guessed it, that pre-market low here, 471. Let's just call it 470. That's definitely a level that we want to hold. Furthermore, I think we probably want to hold this 432 level where this thing, the bottom end of where this thing took the second leg up here in the pre-market. Ultimately, though, we also want to take a look at this 283 level. That's going to be the actual trend line itself, or the value for the trend line here today. So those are going to be some of your downside levels. Upside levels, let's call it 584. Looks like it actually tried to go higher than that here twice today. So I would say that pre-market upside levels definitely going to be a level. 514, the VWAP, that's going to be in play here all day today. So that also going to be a key level. A reminder here on the short interest on ASST, 3.61% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. On average, stock trades 6 million. We've traded 44 million here today. We traded something like that yesterday, but I think we actually more than that yesterday. Float is 12 million, so you should have no trouble trading this one here today. Just be careful. We've seen that. Okay. Jay-Z is a Hayu chat pump and dump. Thank you. There we go. Yeah. I love this. Jay-Z, homie, please. If a shell company called Beyond say IPO anytime soon, I'm going to sue the music. That's awesome, actually. Oh, that's you guys. I love the laughs here early in the morning. Okay. Next on the list, XIII, and this is another one of those China names, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've traded this one before, or at least we've looked at it here before. International, engaged in the manufacturing and marketing of metal pipes. It doesn't say in here. Let me actually check the website here. Can't remember where this is. Doesn't look readily obvious. Maybe I'm confusing this with another one. Anyway, let me go back to the actual chart here. So first of all, we popped in the after hours yesterday. Yep, you guessed it. The trend line, it's coming again. We're at, you know what we'll do? We'll actually incorporate all three of these here. So this trend line is definitely something that we want to break. Downside levels here, 150, clearly one of them. You want to add 140 as well. I'm not going to fight you on that by any means. Here's your 150 line. Here's your 140 line. These two levels do represent support. Let's see if we can get above the downtrend line. We're pretty much right at the VWAP. We're using the VWAP as resistance all pre-market. That might be our first indicator that something is afoot here. Maybe we can take that trend line out. Quick look here at the short interest. 0.65% of the float shorted with 1.15 days to cover. That comes on an average paltry volume of 70,000 shares. Stock here is traded just about 22 million with a float of 5 million. So this one should be in play here today. I'll probably pass on it. Let's see. Was there anything that stood out there in the news? Nope. Nothing. Nothing. So another big mover there on no news. Now, QBTS is the next one on the list. This is a quantum name, and this does have a catalyst here. D-Wave Quantum shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results. Okay, so earnings, always a pretty good result. Here's what the daily chart looks like. The good news here, we've really popped out of some of this sideways consolidation. $8 looks to be the pretty key breakout level, and this consolidation pretty much goes back till the end of March. We're trying to trade higher here. We'll see if we can end up testing this 12 area. You guessed it. We'll throw another trend line on here. That should give us another possible target if this thing gets wild. It looks like we kind of also have almost like a channel going here on the bottom. Not quite. We kind of want to just do it like this, maybe. Maybe we have kind of an ascending triangle there. I'll leave this on here. We'll see if this fills out at all. But that's what's going on with D-Wave here. Ticker QBTS, excuse me. For anyone that cares, that earnings print, 2-cent loss versus the 7-cent loss estimate. Nice little beat there. Sales of 15 million, that beat the 10.6 million estimate. Remember, these quantum companies clearly still in their infancy, so be careful buying up some of that. Sanctuary City Slicker. No news, no volume, no dice. This could be a show thing to live by, almost. I love the added emojis in there. I love this. This is something that I follow pretty much all the time. I know we talk about some of these movers here that get rolling. If the mover doesn't have news, if it doesn't have volume, it probably doesn't have me trading for it. And I also, as far as D-Wave goes here, I would imagine that the entire quantum sector is probably moving on this. Here, we'll start with Rigetti. Up, Rigetti is higher. How about IONQ? Higher. How about QUBT? Higher. So the entire quantum sector moving here on the back of that QBTS report. Okay, next here is going to be NVAX. Novavax shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and issued full year 25 sales guidance above estimates. Here's your pop. We moved off the $6 level. We actually traded above $8 briefly. We're coming back in here to about $7.50. That's right where your VWAP is at. Let's take a look here at the number. 293 EPS beat the 71-cent estimate. Wow, monster beat right there on EPS. Sales 666.65. Boy, if you're superstitious, avoid this stock. That beat the estimate of 343. Just a massive, massive beat here for Novavax. Let's see what it said here. Sees full year 2025 sales 975 to 1.02 billion. The estimate was for 724 million. Oh my goodness. This is a humongous beat on the number, humongous beat on the guide. Stocks flying here, plus 25%. This would definitely be one to watch, see if it moves anymore. Like to read through that report a little bit. I did not follow this one, and I enjoyed the hockey and the basketball last night instead of these financial reports. So, okay, that's pretty much all I had here. I guess honorable mention to ACBA. This is also moving. Akiba Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results. This EPS was 3 cent versus the 4 cent loss estimate, so that was nice there. Sales 57.34 versus the 44 estimate. Another nice beat there. This stock's up 15.8%. Really quick, the short interest on this guy, 6.92 with 3.58 days to cover. 258 million, floats huge. Maybe this won't really squeeze just because of that. We'll see here, but that's a pretty good piece of pretty good report there. And that goes higher. Anand, yeah, the Knicks, man. Let me tell you something. We talked with Redler on Tuesday about Jalen Brunson. We got to talk to him about him again. Jalen Brunson is unbelievable. He had a great game yesterday. He's fun to watch, even though he doesn't play for my team. And as Red Dog said, that dude is tough as nails. That dude is tough as nails. I'm someone that grew up in Chicago in the early 90s. So for me to say good things about the Knicks, that takes quite a bit. Those John Starks, Patrick Ewing Knicks from back in the day that got absolutely pimp slapped by Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Man, those were not nearly as likable as the Tom Thibodeau, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns team is now. So shout out to you Knicks fans. You guys have a fun team to watch and a fun team to root for. There's no doubt. Okay, some other movers that were on here, it's going to be those quantum names that we talked about. MLGO is on here. I don't really know how much this thing is doing. What stocks would you want to take a look at? So Shant, you want to take a look at Clove, the spammer stock. Let me just, before I push enter here, there had better be a good reason to take a look at this. There had better be a good reason. Stock's up 1.84% here on no volume. What are we doing here? Why are you helping out spammers? That's what I want to know. Maybe there's something else here I'm missing. Clove reported earnings on Tuesday after hours. Sales missed the estimate. We just saw some other biotech or companies that just absolutely smoked earnings. Clove did not do that. Looks like, how did the guide do here? Full year 25 adjusted EBITDA 50 to 70 million from 45 to 70. So they raised the bottom end of that, but didn't raise the top end of that. That's okay. Not great, but okay. Stock had a great day yesterday, it looks like, on some pretty good volume. No? See, what do we got here in terms of spots? So we had a really good day yesterday. There's no getting around that. Indeed. Today here, it actually looks like we're testing this resistance. So significant resistance on this stock between 390 and 4. We'll see if we can get above that. The catalyst here is at this point old. It's only a day old, to be fair, but it is older. Just kind of eyeballing this chart, sure looks like Clove is getting a little heavy up here. I guess I would ask, what is the next catalyst that's going to take us through? What's going on in the pipeline? This area that we just talked about, this area, I'm actually going to call it right from here, 380. All right, 380 to 4. This area is going to be significant resistance. Okay, the last couple of times that we tried to pop over this, we got slammed back down. We really want to, if we clear out 4, you can make a case that 450 is your next spot. I'm not sure it's got the strength to get up there. The other thing is that like these initial huge moves here, notice how much higher the volume was. The volume on this most recent earnings print, not even comparable to what took this thing to the next level last time. So stock is up 1.83%. Looks like it does have a decent earnings report that it reported on Tuesday after hours. Maybe that'll drive it here. It sounds to Shant, honestly, it sounds to me like you're talking your book here. It doesn't really seem like there's anything new going on here other than the earnings yesterday. We'll see if we get a little bit of a move back down here. Yeah, so there you go. That's what it is for Clove. Now, good morning, Jay. It's great to see you. Let me know what other stocks you folks want to take a look at here. I do have some more news. We left off with Carvana, did we not? Oh, I did want to cover this one here real quick, just because this has been such a good stock for our group, really, and really for anyone that's been trading it long. Let's take a look here at Netflix. We had talked a lot about Netflix being potentially, I don't want to call it tariff proof or recession proof, but I do think it's resistant to that. So we're going to call it tariff and recession resistant. This is what we've been talking about recently. Netflix, even with the head and shoulders, it said, no, we're not going lower. We're Netflix. We don't go lower, frankly. So that head and shoulders, you can stuff it, take that somewhere else. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm just simply going to delete that because there's just no reason to have it around anymore. We talked about this yesterday. Sure looked like Netflix was going to try and go higher. We got news on the tariffs on foreign films. Folks, I know that this is unpopular amongst some of you out there. All that was FUD. All that was a buying opportunity on Netflix. Sunk the stock, and Netflix almost immediately went green. Stock is up here. 1160 was a potential breakout. Looks like it's trying to do that right now. This company is an absolute monster. It's going to take a lot for me to want to bet against Netflix. I watched the Jake Paul, the last time I even thought about a short here on this company, I watched that Jake Paul Tyson fight. I had all of that streaming issue, and that didn't even knock this thing down. In fact, I think it's doubled since then. They did an excellent job fixing that several months later when they did the football games. I mean, this company is an absolute monster. I really can't talk smack about it. Netflix keeps hitting new highs. Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. Can a TikTok style feed, OpenAI search provide even more growth? Y'all folks, let me know. I will add, Dustin, I will add TEM to the list here. No problem. Okay. Streaming giant Netflix continues to dominate the sector, and its stock keeps hitting new all-time highs. We have a gentleman in the happy hour whose online handle is named SB Trader, and he might be the best Netflix trader that I know. He has been all over this. It's been great for him. So I love seeing stuff like this. Netflix isn't slowing down and is launching a major overhaul of its homepage that could help user engagement. I've never even thought about Netflix's homepage. Let me know if you have. Well, Netflix didn't break out of its subscriber figure in the latest quarterly results. Revenue growth likely led to more than 300 million paid subscribers and a gain from the end of 2024. Netflix is ready to help those hundreds of millions of users remain engaged on the streaming platform and get better recommendations for what to watch. This is the part that I think is interesting. The platform homepage on mobile will provide a TikTok-style vertical feed, that's going to be your infinite scroll, of clips and trailers from movies and shows, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Clicking on one of the clips takes a user to that movie or show. So they're basically, whatever their content library is, they're going to have an infinite scroll feed that's designed to immediately attack your psychological state so that you click more on Netflix content. We all know that every one of us here, I guarantee it, every one of us here has flipped on something, whether it be a phone, tablet, TV, or otherwise, and has gotten engaged for more time than you expected here. Netflix looks like they're trying to exploit that angle here. Netflix is using OpenAI to help with search recommendations for users in an effort to be, quote, more responsive to your moods and interests in the moment. Bro, this is going too far. I don't want my subscriptions and my technology companies to be up on my mood based on what I'm saying and doing and then recommending things. Like, just chill. Just take a step back. I don't like that at all. Obviously, there's a good reason for this. They're trying to exploit people. I don't like it personally. CTO Elizabeth Stone, Chief Technology Officer Elizabeth Stone, said the goal is for users to get recommendations using phrases like, I want something funny and upbeat, or I want something scary, but not too scary, rather than just searching for comedy or horror. Okay, so I get it. You're trying to make the search a little bit better so that you don't have to, search for things that are vague, but like reading my mood, take a step back on that. Users will see popular titles and award-winning features more prominent on the platform home for TVs. Shortcuts to different categories will be moved to the left side of the screen, from the left side of the screen to the top. That is going to make it harder to get to when you're scrolling down. If you've got to go all the way to the top and you've scrolled down an absolute ton, be prepared. You might want to hit back instead. We are going to keep sight of what we think is the best experience for our members, particularly driving discovery and engagement with all of the movies and shows and live events and games they will love. So, okay, looks like they're trying to keep you engaged on that platform. C.A. Forsman says, Ryan, you're being spied on in so many ways already. Let the algos do their thing. Chris, they can do their thing when they pry my privacy from my cold, dead fingers. With that being said, you might be right. I'm probably getting spied on by many devices, including this thing right here. F you, algos. Okay, just kidding. Netflix continues to dominate the streaming space and see strong engagement. These changes are to the homepage and TV are a good test to see if user engagement increases. Netflix already features its top-watched TV shows and movies in user feeds, but top hits could see a more prominent placement. Streaming giant will also be able to show viral clips from shows and movies via the TikTok-style feed. See if that has any impact on it. I want to watch happy stuff, not what my mood is. Damo, I am with you there for the most part. I am with you. For that. Brian saying, likely Alexa. I don't have any Alexas in my house for the entire spying angle. For that entire reason, I don't have Amazon Alexa in there. Okay, let's go back here. We've done movers. We've done a lot of the news. I don't really have anything. I guess I've got this Disney story that I kept on the back burner. Chris, you wanted to take a look at ARM. Was that you? Let me make sure. Don't stream Netflix from your mobile device. Got it. I've literally never done that in my life, so I'm okay there. Can we look at ARM? Seems to be fighting back from the earnings. Yes, we can. That was actually one of the other stories that we had. And because now that you've asked about it, guess what? That's what we're doing next. Ask and you shall receive. ARM. How much time do I have? 19 minutes. Plenty of time. Here's your ARM chart. As we always do, we're going to start with the daily here. We do have an inverse head and shoulders that we had preemptively drawn here just to see if this rolls into this formation. The only thing to note here, we have multiple closes above the 50 off the recent bottom that ARM made. That's been great. You remember this is likely going to be affected by that chip curb news that we got yesterday. ARM immediately traded up. Boy, oh boy, all that did was help people that were going to short ARM for this print because that gave you a higher price to short at 124. Impulse move took us to 113. It finally settled down here at 109. Now, to Big B's point, this is actually making a pretty impressive recovery here so far as we are recovering off this 110 level, currently at 117. Seven whole points just this morning off of the lows from yesterday in the after hours. Big B's, this is recovering here. We'll see if it will continue to do that. Let's take a quick look at the news feed here. ARM reported an adjusted EPS of 56 cents. That beat the 52 cent estimate. Sales were 1.24 billion. That beat the 1.23 billion. So a slight beat on both the top and the bottom line there. ARM Holdings sees full year 2026 adjusted EPS of 156 to 164. This was versus a 203 estimate. So this is why your stock's getting pounded here today. It sees sales 3.94 to 4.04 billion. The estimate was 4.91 billion. So big cut there on the guide. That's going to account for your move down here. Thankfully, the stock is responding to it. Let's take a look here at the news story. Anand, thank you for the super chat. Can you take a look at ETH and Shop? Yes, we'll do those next. Shop was already on the list. I was getting to you. Don't worry, brother. But you know what else I'll do? We'll add ETH on here as well. I normally look at Bitcoin, so maybe we'll look at both. But yes, we'll definitely do that. We'll do that next year. Appreciate your super chat, my friend. Okay. ARM says tariffs can't touch its business as AI boom fuels record revenue. Quote, can't run AI without ARM, end quote. Now that quote did come from the CEO. So keep that in mind here. Big B's here saying their revenue outlook caused the price to reverse at ER. Okay, and Crow all over GPUS. I'm sure we'll get to some of those smaller stocks here shortly as we get closer to the open. Let me finish up with ARM here. Executives reassured investors that the company's business model protects it from direct tariffs amid the growing U.S.-China trade tensions, according to the earnings call. Just gave you the quote, "We don't have direct impact on tariffs since tariffs today are really applied to end products and are not applied to services, which is what we are providing." That quote comes from Jason Child, the CFO of ARM. The British chip design firm reported record fourth quarter revenue of $1.24 billion, with full year revenue topping $4 billion for the first time. ARM saw licensing revenue surge 50% year over year, while royalty revenue grew 18%. To $607 million. Despite the strong performance, ARM declined to provide full-year guidance, citing macroeconomic uncertainties, including potential indirect tariff effects. The company estimates 10 to 20% of its royalty revenue stems from shipments into the U.S., creating some exposure to demand fluctuations. So even so, that is just a portion of its business, and it's only 10 to 20%. If it's a 10% or a 20% impact on demand, then it could be a couple percent impact on royalties, probably at most. Again, that comes from the CFO. ARM projects its first quarter revenue between 1 to 1.1 billion, representing a 12% year-over-year growth, with royalty growth accelerating to 25 to 30%. The company continues benefiting from the AI demand. CEO Renee Haas emphasizing, quote, "AI is changing everything. You can't run AI without ARM." So you can take that pullback that we're getting here and stuff it, according to this CEO. So here you go on ARM. Big B's, did you have any levels for ARM that your and Anand saying, "Lol, tariffs can't affect it, but they can't give guidance." That, I'll be honest with you, Anand, that was like kind of my response to this too. It was like, bro, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. When he breaks it down, it makes a little bit more sense. Like the portion of uncertainty that tariffs represents kind of represents a low change to the bottom line down the road. And it almost feels like he's using it as an excuse to not give guidance. That was kind of my takeaway. Like he's saying the right things here, but it's almost like, dude, stick your neck out there and give it then. If it's not really a big deal, do it. A lot of these CEOs, I'm sure that they don't really want to look wrong. The uncertainty, I'm sure, plays a huge role in it, right? So I get it, but your point is not lost. Your point is absolutely not lost on that. As far as the levels here, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. We really want to hold 112. We're currently at 116. That really shouldn't be a problem. We do have an inverse head and shoulders setup here on the chart. So any type of good news or maybe a break above this neckline here at 120, I'm going to call this 124 to 125 as your next really key level. If we break that to the upside, and particularly on volume, we probably put 133, 134 as the target there for that move. That's going to be your 200-day moving average. A break above that, looking all the way back to the summer of last year, our volume shelf, our largest volume shelf and volume point of control is actually up here at 141. So my targets here, Big B's, 124 to 125. That is going to be a trigger here. I do think you could probably front run that, especially if we hold the 50. You're going to have to use risk management skills in order to manage that trade. But if you do break above that 124, 125 spot, I think that puts 133, 134 on deck for the next target. You let me know what you think here. Big B's had said their revenue outlook caused the price to reverse. I already read that. Sorry about that. 120, looking for a recapture of this level to 126 potentially. Okay, so you have a little bit. Would you leave it? Let me ask you, would you leave a trailer, whether it's stock or options, if you do trade this for the plan that you just outlined? Would you leave a trailer on in case we do break out and try and test that 200? Well, let me know if the 200 is even factored into your plan at all. And Deborah, good morning. It's great to see you. Welcome back. Okay. Shop and Ethereum. You know what, Anand? Let me start with Bitcoin, and then we'll do Ethereum, and then we'll come back and do Shop. In fact, you know what we'll do is I'll even preload Shop here to remind me to do that so I don't forget you here. Let me clean up this workspace. Let's go to the crypto chart. We'll start here. Oh, and then WGRX. Is that a penny stock? If that's a penny stock, I'm not going to cover it. It's not. Let me add that to the list here real quick. WGRX. Yes, Alan, we will talk about that. That actually looks like a mover too. So we will get to that. Yes. Okay. So my Bitcoin chart got effed. Darn it. I had all those drawings on here. Here, let me at least add moving average. Let me just add these moving averages back here real quick. I'm going to want these, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm going to want these on the Ethereum chart that you had asked about anyway. So I might as well just do this right now. Let's go ahead and set this to yellow, 3 thickness, blah, blah, blah. That's thick with 3 C's, by the way, LOL. And then let's go back here and change this to 200. Okay, we also had this very obvious trend line that was like right here. Yep. And then I think we had one on the downside, didn't we? I think we had something like this down in here. Yeah, something like that. I'll go ahead and adjust these. I think I actually drew it from about right here, to be honest. I'll go ahead and adjust these. And then 73K, that number I remember for sure. That was going to be your breakout level. 72 thereabouts. Okay, we duplicated this. Okay, so here's your look at Bitcoin. We are going to get to Ethereum here in a sec. Here is the breakout here in Bitcoin. I got to be honest, this looks great. This to me sure looks like this double top that we put in up here. It looks like we're probably going to test that. The next big level, we kind of already discussed this. The next big level is going to be 100K. Day trader, I had asked you earlier if you thought we were going to get above this. You may have answered. I completely missed it. I'm sorry about that if that's the case. Let me know again what you think here on Bitcoin. Do we test 100K here, or do we break 100K here in the near term? This entire action, really from Liberation Day down here, the weekend after Liberation Day, I guess, this bottom right in here, the performance of this has been just extremely strong. I never got my 70K fill. I never got my fill on Ripple. I never got my fill on Solana. I'll reassess if I have to, but I'm patient with Bitcoin, especially since my Bitcoin gains led to a new car. We'll chill on that a little bit. What I will say here, though, is that this performance has been extremely strong from this low, mid 70K handle. And it actually looks like this is not going anywhere. We have another gap here today. It looks like this also a resistance area, this 100K. This is what's next here for Bitcoin. So let's see if we can get over 100K. Now, I know you asked about Ethereum, and we are running out of time, and you are probably upset with me. Here is your Ethereum chart. We recently, this has not been as strong as Bitcoin. Notably. Also, we're going to add the triple top level up here at about 4,000. This is not as strong as Bitcoin, notably. However, recently, we have reclaimed the 50-day moving average. And the good news here, we didn't just pop above. We actually popped above. We've consolidated. We dipped beneath. We went back above again. To me, it sure looks like the digestion of the 50-day moving average is done. It certainly seems to me that the next move here is going to be higher on Ethereum. Near-term level, I would say probably 2,100, 2,105 is what I've got eyeballed here. This was a previous support area that we cracked that has now also been a resistance area. So I got to think the 2,100 level is going to be extremely important, and it's going to be important really quick. We're currently at 1967, so 2,100, not very far away at all. The 200-day I have up here at 27. I'm always going to tell you that the 200-day is important. I've just been doing this for too long to think otherwise. Let's see if that can be our next target. Honorable mention along the way, 2,200 had a little bit of consolidation. I think if we take out 2,100, we probably go to 22 pretty quick. And I do also think you're going to have some type of back and forth up here. Let's call it 25 and a half. So you were asking for levels. I believe levels here for Ethereum that I would be paying attention to, upside levels, that is 2,000 or 2,100. Maybe as a range there, 2,000 to 2,100, with 2,100 really being the keystone there. And then also right in here, 2,100, 2,550, and 27. So 21, 2550 and 27. Those are your key upside levels here for Ethereum. As far as a downside level here, yeah, of course, this one down here at 1400 is important, but more important than that is going to be, do we lose this 50-day moving average? If we do not, if we hold this 50-day moving average, all signs are a go here on Ethereum. Let me know if that was helpful at all, or if that's what you were looking for here. A Crow saying ETHU is your 2x Ethereum. Day trader, getting back to, I appreciate you. I think we chop around. Okay, so I was asking about Bitcoin earlier. I think we chop around 100K, then pop over it and base along it. I also, or it will take more deals or news to get to an all-time high. Okay, I think that's a very cogent analysis. I would agree with you, especially around the chopping around. I would add to that I'd actually really like to see it chop around, but above 100K. Like if the chopping is around 101K, and that's what it's chopping around, I would really appreciate that more than chopping around the actual 100K level. But you bring up a really good point here, and you're hoping for a base along it. This is awesome. I can tell based on what you're saying here that you're already thinking about trading it, or maybe adding to it, or some type of trade. If you're talking about that base, that's a good sign. Relative strength of Bitcoin versus everything is notable. I would completely agree with this too. I'm glad you're seeing the same thing here. I'm trying to be as patient as possible, but that strength is notable. I agree with you. ETH has been struggling versus Bitcoin and Solana. That's kind of what we're seeing here in the chart, but the chart does spell a little bit of some potential firming up here. Anan says, thanks. Okay, now before we open here, we've got 5 minutes, but let me make sure 13's not here yet. Before we open here, let me go back to the chart tool. We're also going to talk, boy, it just reset everything again. We're also going to talk about shop, right? That's what I had on here. Indeed. Let's go ahead and get the watermark back there so you don't think I'm lying. Let's add my time frames on here so I can quickly go through it. All right, here we go on shop. All right. We are at some key levels here. We're going to start with the earnings. I actually don't have an article for this, so let me just start with some of the numbers here. Shop EPS, Q1 EPS, 53-cent loss. That may not compare to the 20-cent estimate. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more. Sales, 2.36 billion, beat the 2.33 billion estimate. Not a surprise there. Shopify sees Q2 sales 2.536 billion to 2.577. The estimate was for 2.5. So this is actually and profit guidance falls short. Actually, it looks like that's, I wonder, am I misreading this? There might be some adjustment in there. That actually looks good. Adjusted EPS, here we go. 25-cent misses the 26-cent estimate. That makes a lot more sense. And then we already talked about those sales numbers here. Okay, so this is actually down 4.2% here in the pre-market. And notably, we lost the 200-day. So here's your move down on Shopify. Here's the daily chart. We lost the 200. We were really kind of chopping around, to use the same parlance we were just talking about with Bitcoin. We were chopping around the 50 as it was compressing and moving down towards the 200, which means we might have a death cross coming here. And we actually lost that 200. We're actually in this gap, are we not? Oh, not quite. Not quite. Okay, so your key levels here is going to be this bottom right here, 89.23. We're currently at $90. 89.23 starts a gap that doesn't fill to 85. So there's going to be one of your downside targets right there. Okay. If we enter the gap, we can possibly move down towards the 85, 86 handle. Your upside levels, clearly $93 is going to be important. That's effectively your 200-day here. But also that $95 level represents your 50-day moving average. So we really like to retake 93 and 95 in short order here. That would actually then form another higher low. We got a low here. We have a higher low, a second higher low off of a reversal and a recapture of these moving averages. I think that might be tradable. Now, upside targets as well. You guessed it. We're going to use our trusty trend line. We'll see if we can break above this trend. Okay. Good morning, Austin. Jay Harris. Okay. What time is it? We got 2 minutes. And guess what? I got good news for you folks. 13 is here. 13, good morning. How you doing today?
Oh, let's see. I've got my mic on. Yeah, I'm doing just fine. How's everybody this morning? Just, in a little bit of a rush trying to get back to the desk on time. But here we
Well,
are.
first of all, I'll say this. I'll say that we appreciate it. As I've reminded you off camera, family will always come first, so it's no problem at all. And frankly, I think I did a fairly good job holding down the morning session until you got here.
I think you did. Even though you were missing me, I think you did. And I caught that little segment. I had to
Yep. Yeah, you did. You caught it and called me out. I love it. Okay. The only thing left on the list to take a look at that I couldn't get to was Rocket Lab, TEM, and WGRX. Now, I know we normally do the movers here, so if there are movers you want to talk about, that's fine. WGRX was not on the list when I first looked at it, so this is where I'm going to start. We do have a catalyst here. This is Wellgistics Health. That's a clever name. Wellgistics Health shares are trading higher after the company secured a $50 million equity line of credit facility. This stock popped from 461 above 9. So it was a 100% runner. It's retraced 50% of that. We're still holding higher here. By 54%. Okay. It secures the $50 million ELOC facility for XRP Treasury Reserve and real-time payments infrastructure and other general ops. Where's Lion Atlas? He's got to love that XRP is involved in this headline here. 13, really quick, check in around the horn here on the short interest, 0.5% short with 1 day to cover. Stock has a 27 million share float. It on average trades 150,000 shares, but today has already traded 6 million. What do you think?
I have no angle on this. We're in blue sky territory where we were. Well, actually, we still are kind of, but the highest print we've had is the 930 in the pre-market here, and we're open. So I have no real angle on this one. Looks like it is starting to roll over though. So if it loses like 645, 650, then it's likely coming back down to under 5.
Okay, real good stuff. Dustin is asking, are you still able to get to TEM? Yes, and Rocket Lab. We'll also talk about that, especially since 13 is here. Also, we will cover WGRX. Here it is because it is moving. It is on the movers list and it is moving here. So yes, we will cover all of those. We'll make sure we get to all of those. As far as WGRX goes, 733, the next key level for me. We really do need to reclaim this VWAP. Otherwise, we might see some more extended weakness. ASST, good call, WIS. This broke above your pre-market high. It looks like, okay, so maybe I got a little too excited there. This tried to make a run at 6. Looks like it's doing it again. Careful with this one, but it is moving here.
Probably do some trend lines on that one too. So yeah, this one we were talking about yesterday about how I think it was 6. There was some level that I had mentioned for this one we were going to watch for that we were coming up to. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I thought it must have been like around $5 or $6, maybe a little bit less than that. But here we are above it. So I think that if this does come back in here, we're going to look at support around $5. If that doesn't hold, then we could probably look at 4, maybe 4.30.
Okay. Here, real quickly, do you have anything pressing right now? No. Yes. Okay. Let's very quickly cover TEM so I could get this out of the way. Because otherwise, and I don't mean, it's not as if I'm annoyed by it. I might forget about it and then I will have lied to you. And I don't want to do that. So here's TEM. We had actually talked about this recently. There is a key level here on TEM that it looks like we might test again here today. 59 to 60. This has clearly been actually 13. Did you have me add a line on this chart? 460.
That might have been me. This one from February of 2025 through the high of March. That same year.
I just meant the actual $60 level. But this trend line you did have me add for sure. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing on TEM. I'd love 13 to get your impression as well. First of all, the trend line that we recently broke, this actually lined up pretty nicely with the volume point of control. This goes back to last year. Remember, this thing IPO'd last year. We have broken over that and we've chopped around over that. So we've really created a firm support, in my belief here, by moving above this trend line. In addition to moving above that trend line, we also held above the 50, the 100, and the 200. So all of that looks pretty good here. Now, the $60 level, this is absolutely going to be a resistance level, and we are here. We're actually 34 cents away from it, so we should be able to watch this in real time. If we pop above this, I'm kind of thinking your next level here is going to be this 66. This goes back to a consolidation area from earlier this year, as well as a high area from November, as well as a consolidation area from August of last year. So I really think that this 66, 67-ish level, let's even call it 65 to 67, is probably your next spot. Also worth noting, yeah, of course, the 90 all-time highs.
So I like that $6 level. Also keeping an eye on 61.50. That's the high from March 25th. And then, I do like 65 after that, 65 and a half probably. But those levels I like on the way up here. It looks like we might even be getting a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders print happening here following this drop in February. So those are some levels I'd be watching for. We could also potentially back test this trend line before we make that move higher. So a couple of things I'd be watching for. But once we start closing above 60 and 61.50, I think that we'll see this this price move higher.
Okay, real good stuff here. I told you we'd get to it. Dustin, we're not a liar. Let me know if that was helpful and if you like that.
ASST is ripping. Yep.
It ripped above 6, and it is still ripping here. This actually printing highs. This might halt here, ASST.
No, I don't think it is. Not quite yet.
Nope.
Not quite yet.
Crocodile Dummy saying Google is dumping its pre-market gains. No, I didn't sell it yet. No. What are you doing, Google? Come on, turn around. We'll see. We can probably play stop at break even if we want to on this. They're short term, so maybe that's the good way to play this. Jay, I'm glad to see you here. I know you're talking about LEU. We'll get to that in a sec. Jay,
Now we halted.
ASST is halted. Okay, we'll get to that here in a sec. Jay, I tried to get filled on Lantheus calls yesterday. We had talked yesterday about where there's the buy spot, and I think we agreed on if it dipped into the 70s. Well, we printed 79 yesterday. I was actually on the offer, I believe, or on the bid for calls. I never got filled, so I have no position yet here on Lantheus. I'm still stalking it. Let me know what you're doing here on that. ASST, that 644 level is our halt level.
There's 60 in TEM.
Here's GPUS, new highs. This is actually testing the highs from yesterday's intraday session. You had mentioned TEM, the 60 test. Looks like we busted above TEM.
Sure did.
Dustin is saying that I made it happen. Dustin, I will take that. I will take that.
All right, so as far as GPUs goes, let's see where we can expect this to run.
And CEP also kind of disappointing here. Was really hoping that this was going to continue to roll over. This has the last 2 mornings in a row. This thing has gapped up, making it harder to dump the rest of that position. It's traded down throughout the course of the day, but all that does is just obliterate your premium. So kind of a disappointment here on CEP. Definitely was hoping to retest the 20 handle.
GPUs 950 seems to be a resistance area. And it looks like WGRX is halted to the downside.
I am getting a little bit delayed on the halt signals. The other signals look good. Let me
here we go with GPUs. This looks like it's trying to push higher here. Maybe it goes right to the 950 I was just mentioning. Starting to spread out a bit here, so be careful. Right now I'm looking at about a 20-cent spread.
Graph here mentioning Insider sells 22 mil in Pan W. Pan W is actually getting spanked on this right now. This is definitely trading down. It's down 1.84% here. As far as Pan W goes, I am still waiting out 160. We did trade it in here last time. It was kind of small, but I think I might think about adding a little bit longer term position here. We get into that 160 handle again. Pan W is still your best in breed for cybersecurity. Here's GPUS.
Yeah, kind of topping out at 880 area. Let me see if I can figure out why it's, doing that particular area. 908 was the high from a few days ago. Was that Monday? Yeah. Let's see here. So we're just waiting for ASST to unhalt. Rocket Lab is selling off. Did you look at that junky Chinese name, that Jay-Z?
Oh yeah, yes I did. That was actually the first mover on the list, unfortunately.
Yeah, that not having a great day. This is coming right back to start.
Here it is.
NBIS, one of the movers from yesterday, that coming back down to the after hours lows.
Also, folks, regarding our poll results, thank you, producer. We had asked earlier, I don't know if you heard 13, but Ross Gerber is out floating that Tesla should buy Rivian.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, should Tesla buy Rivian was the question. 41% of you said no, Gerber's talking crazy. 34% of you said yes, it makes sense. And 24% of you said not sure. Doesn't sound like you care. So no is the winner of that poll.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess I could see how their vehicles might have a little bit more aesthetic appeal than Tesla's. But beyond that, I don't really see what the appeal is. Maybe the factory infrastructure. I really don't know how that factors into Tesla's plans if they actually are going to pick those up. It doesn't quite make sense to me. So
me either. There's, I think someone in the chat said this earlier. There's nothing proprietary that's great from Rivian that Tesla would benefit from. Why would you pay for that? I'm with you. I don't think it makes sense.
I don't see, unless there's something that we're missing that Rivian has that Tesla doesn't, that Tesla wants. But
GP US new highs here. Sorry,
$9. So it looks like $8.99. So that approaching the level we're looking for, $9.50. Looks like Soundhound getting some price action as well. Just traded inside a 50-cent range out of the open here. We're up to $9.80 now. And then it fell down to $9.30, trying to recover. So there you go. ASST is open and selling off. Might come down to about 590. Might find some support there. We'll see. So we should get a unhalt out of WGRX pretty soon as well.
JZ continuing to roll over here. Zkin, this actually might test 180. ZVIA. What's going on with this one? I don't think I covered this one earlier, did I? They reported earnings.
So one thing that's now I can see here with WGRX is open now. This high from March 20th might provide some support. So there's something we could watch for if we're going to try to trade this one, WGRX. We shall see.
App Lovin', this making the relative volume scanner. This is actually trying to push higher here. 360 is the level for some more upside. At least it feels like that based on the chart. Sezzle, this thing also trying to push out its pre-market highs. Nice little move there on Sezzle.
Crow, you think Zkin is going to go? What's the spot we're looking for here? Oh, you know what? There's a nice trend that we got here. Nice trend. Let me see. Okay, so we are probably looking at, let's see, that should give us a break at about 175. I see there's a large concentration of sellers at 180, maybe that area as well. So that's sort of the area we have to get over if we make that move right now. The price will end up being lower if it takes more time.
Chopping around its VWAP right now, so we'll see if it can shoot off from that area.
WGRX halted again to the downside. This, what was the appeal on this one?
They were trading higher after they secured a $50 million equity line of credit facility, which to me doesn't seem all that great, to be honest.
Well, I guess the market's agreeing with you because it's pretty much right back to almost where it began this morning.
Yeah, it's just a case of buyers and sellers here. They bought that news, maybe algos. They've been selling it ever since.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a point where it gets picked back up later in the morning or later today. We'll see. But
Hans making a call here, long Carvana. So we had actually talked about Carvana here. Interesting story this morning. CEO saying that Carvana might actually benefit from tariffs. Used cars might be more appealing than new cars because of those. Carvana here also reporting better than expected Q1 financial results. It dipped and ripped in the after hours. Did take out the pre-market highs here. Hans, looks like you're going for a run on this name. We do have our next target right up here, 292.
that's funny. So
I actually like the setup, Hans. I think your trade is a good one.
So Root is not trading in line with that. That's down 8% off of a good earnings report. We're getting price raises. They got one from Wells Fargo. They raised it to 142 from 105.
That's a pretty healthy raise too.
13. Well, here's the thing: it was already over that price when the market opened. So I guess this is selling the news. I guess maybe there's a bounce spot coming. We'll see. Let me see if I can find out where that. You know what? I wonder if that bounce spot might be sooner than later. Okay, so this is just kind of a trend line, but
Tesla, huge rip here right out of the open. Tesla pretty much right back to the level here from breakout level here from Friday of last week.
118 to 120 in Root looks like there could be a bounce coming. If we lose that, then I think we're heading towards the 200 SMA. All right,
Zach Von Dusen, I think I pronounced your name correct. Please correct me if I did not. AMD gonna hit 106 question mark. Honestly, sure looks like it. Remember, 106 was the impulse move high that was the earnings, right? Tuesday after hours. No, it was Wednesday after hours, right? No. Come on. Yes, it was Tuesday. Come on, Ryan, get it together. Tuesday after hours when AMD reported, that pop took us to 106. We came back in, retested 98, held it. Now we're moving higher here. Zach, I think you're right. I think 106 test coming here. Now, does it move higher? We'll see, but it sure looks like that's what it's going for here. What were you saying?
GPUs 945 is the high, so we're just 5 cents away from that level I marked off. I wouldn't be surprised if we started to turn around here. Zekin is Crow is still in this. We just had the price move right up to that trend line. It's backing off a little bit, but not. It's still above my VWAP. Might get a breakout coming here if we can hold above 165. I think.
This was the trend line we put when we looked at this in the movers tool. We are flirting with that level right now.
Mm-hmm.
PLTU, this is your bull levered Palantir ETF, just vertical, 6 to midnight right now. Let's see, how's Palantir doing? Palantir also vertical, man, 116. Good Lord. This thing, what did we say when we were talking about the pullback here? This overshot it a little. I think we said 110-ish. This thing went to 107, 106.
Izzy is saying, what?
Christy, thank you for becoming a new member and welcome to Zinger Nation. Good morning. Hopefully you are doing well here today.
So far, GPUS not getting any higher than 946. I think that we might get a little bit more of a pullback here because that was a pretty good looking resistance area. But if we rip through it, then I'll give you the next one I see. If we do get a pullback here, I'd be looking at about 825 for support.
Okay, Hood here. One of the things that we were looking at on Hood was this could be good if this breaks out from this 50-ish level. Looks like it's doing that here today, 52.60. This, to my eye, looks like it's going to try and go higher here. I think your next spot probably 57, 57 and a half.
WGRX is open again and printing just slightly lower, almost right back to the starting.
Oh my God, look at this.
So watch buyers start to step in now. That'd be hilarious, but it's also entirely possible.
$5, the buyers step back in there and start running this thing up. That would be something. By the way, ASST here, Gary Frost, $3 win on ASST. You'll get a register ring for that. 3 to 6, it looks like. Let's go. ASST pulling back here, by the way, coming back in towards the VWAP.
And looks like WGRX is starting to get some buyers.
35-cent bounce right off that $5 level, 13 already. He took, I'll tell you what, the time, the showing up late in the morning makes no difference. You are still absolutely crushing it with some of these calls. Really good stuff there on WGRX.
I sees what I sees.
I'll take that. Google, by the way, folks, little bit of profit taking, maybe this turns back up here. Good move there so far for Google.
WGRX going to need some more buyers to hold above the 65 EMA, but that's a nice recapture. Rocket Lab kind of bouncing around between 22.25 and 22.60.
Okay, we wanted to take a look at Rocket Lab, so let's do that.
Because they had earnings, right? I believe they did.
They have earnings after market today.
Yes, tonight. Yep.
So Rocket Lab looks like it was gapping up a little bit with the market. That sold back off to balance here. Rocket Lab basically at unchanged right now. App call flow I see here today. Now for app, okay, this is actually pulling back. We'll see if this can move above 355.
Nice job, Izzy. It's 2 for 2 on Hood and Zeeken. I say it's Zeeken even though it's ZK International. Now, was that from like a bounce off the 140 area at that pre-market low that we had after the impulse move? Is that where you went in? Because that's a really nice move from about the 140s up into the 170s. ASST, after this candle, I'm wondering if this is going to try
this trend line
and move around and move back up.
ASST, you said?
Yeah. So after this candle closes, let's see what we end up getting here.
Did you basically have a trend going from the Wednesday high through these?
I saw that. I didn't draw the line yet, but
okay.
That's something that, I'd be, if you draw it, keep an eye on what it does. You could do one on the top and the bottom side. All right, so WGRX, little bounce, not able to hold above 65 EMA. It's down to the starting point. Zeeken also losing altitude here. We're not getting that breakout yet, but we're not completely breaking down, even though we're beneath the VWAP. Now ASST got the next candle going here. Let's see if this can push up to the highs again.
Oh, what is this, Dave?
Good morning, Dave. Remember that from Independence Day?
Dave shares are trading higher if the company reported strong Q1 results and raised its full year 25 sales guidance. This stock is up 32% on the back of that earning. 32%. Financial services company engaged in offering a banking app that offers customer banking, financial insights, overdraft protection, and building credit and finding side gigs.
Side gigs. All those side gigs really picking up.
Dude, the guide. Wow. Dave raises full year 2025 sales guidance. The range was 415 to 435. They raised that to 460 to 475.
Zeeken,
now the estimate was 499, so that's interesting.
Zeeken just rebounded, trying to come back up to the trend line. Let's get an expansion of volume so we can bust through it this time.
By the way, that JZ that was just kind of leaking all morning here, that actually did find some support at the 65 EMA on the 5. That value was 111. Here's Zeeken. It's still going for that trend line here. That trend line value 174.
ASST lost VWAP coming down to the pre-market consolidation. And what else? GPUs, here comes another push to 950. We'll see if it can do it. If it can't get it with this one, I'd be watching for a loss of VWAP. Seems like the volume is starting to leave GPUs a little bit here. All right, ZKN right back up to near that trend line. Let's see if we get this breakout or not. ASST halted to the downside now.
App, more call flows on the app. This is not really moved higher yet. We are continuing to see call flows. I wonder if these are profit takers. Here, let me actually, but I gotta resave something on here. It lost some of my filters that I had saved. We want greater than or equal to 100. Let me adjust a few settings here. I think I reset some of my saves.
Yeah, STFU.
Yep.
It's right about there, 177, 180. I'm just keeping an eye on 180. That's you look at the pre-market, or actually this was after hours. So you have the after hours consolidation. 180 is like right in there. We lost that. Haven't been able to recapture it since. So yeah, I'm really liking this particular area here. This area you're talking about, 177 to, you could even go as high as 186, but 180 to me looks like to be about the nominal area for a breakout. Let's see if we end up getting it here.
Here's your Zkin chart. It's testing it right now.
So WGRX and ASST halted down. Rocket Lab still trying to find a bottom. Looks like it might be finding one. GPUs, that had a pop up to 964, but it's right back down underneath 950. So still trying to negotiate that level. TQQQ is bouncing off, or trying to bounce off the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Don't think that's nearly extended enough for a trade yet.
ZVIA bull flagging here. What's the volume like on this? 1.5 million already. Quantum names look like the pre-market was the high there. QBTS, this was the one that was driving it. I got to imagine those other quantum names, yeah, they really came back in. D-Wave reported earnings and reported better than expected earnings. So one of the quantum names reported good earnings. The rest of them moved in sympathy. They all came back in. Barry the Goat is mentioning Kodak. KODK.
All right. Let's see it, Zkin. Let's see the break.
Crocs, no guide, no problem. So it looks like Croc didn't guide. Doesn't matter. They're higher here. Let's go back to Zkin. We'll watch that. It looks like it's happening right now.
It's
or the battle is happening. Yeah.
Yep. That battle for 180 is certainly happening right now. Just need more volume. This gives us a big order to take out these sellers at 177 to 180. That should take us up to at least 190, maybe into the 190s. Looks like TQQQ is trying to bounce a little bit, but I don't think it's ready to go on a run. Now, if Zkin needs to break over this trend line at some point soon, because if it doesn't, I think we're going to end up coming back under 150.
If we're bringing coal back, we've got to bring back Kodiak slides. Who's bringing coal back?
Trump.
Is he?
Clean, beautiful coal.
I don't know. Natural gas seems to be. E-Rock's asking, who was yesterday's guest? Yesterday's guest was Tim Melvin. I think the guys that you're referring to are the story trading folk. Let me see if I've got the QR code for you, E-Rock. Here you go. There's your QR code. I don't know about that discount anymore, but there's your QR code. Scan it, because I'm not going to leave this up here. Got to get back to what's going on.
Thanks for that piece of info, Jay Rice. Kodak earnings tonight. Some buying in the June 750 calls this morning. ASST is open now. Let's see what this ends up doing, if it's going to go higher or if it's going to test these lows from the pre-market.
The June 750 calls, huh? So there's buying in the 750 calls in May, too. There's actually more open interest in those May calls.
GPU is still not able to close over 950. If this candle doesn't close, this 5-minute candle doesn't close over 950, I think I'd be raising my stops.
Good morning, Ryan. E-Rock, you got it? Okay, awesome.
All right. Hey, NBS, when a plan works out, I know the feeling, man. It's great. Congratulations. Hope you made some good money on that. Here we go. Look at this concentration at XIII right now. Just
I was going to say it's right here. It's trying.
Yeah, these sellers are really piling up at 177 to 180. I hope they get taken out soon. Here we go. They're chewing at it. They're chewing at it, but they need more volume. Oh, they're still strong, these sellers.
They're really holding this down. Let me actually watch this on the level 2 here. Watch the battle. I have no position in this. So this is easy for me to just kind of sit on the sidelines.
ASST still holding above 65 EMA. WGRX is open now. Trying to, it's right at the price it was before we had the move.
Zekin really struggling to get above this level.
Yeah, it is. So if it can't do that, then like I said, raise your stops because this thing will fall.
CEP, by the way, did come in from that initial pop. We really want that to sell off. We are going to put a stop, by the way, on the remaining contracts here. We're going to stop at break even. That break even price was 165. So we're just going to make sure that we lose no money on this trade.
TEM is 62.50. Okay, here we go.
So we got above that $60 level, huh? Glad we covered that before that happened, because if I had just waited around, we'd have lost that breakout. Actually, yeah, look at that. Dude, so the trading action here, great. We went right up to that 60, came off of it, and then the second attempt, bang, right through it.
62.50 exactly is the high point of the day.
Yes, sir.
It's almost like I saw something there.
Almost.
All right, here we go. Zekin just hanging on by a thread on its VWAP, not able to get over that trend line. I think seller or buyers might be getting exhausted. And then we are getting a little bit of a pullback here in Tempest AI. I don't know if it's going to go higher than 62.50 for today. If it does, great. We'll be looking at that. I think we talked about 65.50, somewhere up in the 65 area. That'd be great if it got up there. But I think for what we were looking at today, got as much of the trade as you probably might had hoped for. And if you get more, it's just gonna be icing.
Zekin still struggling. 166 your VWAP there on Zekin too.
They may have just shaken out some weaker hands, but let's see if the buyers can step back in and try and take this out. This might have to be the one to do it, or we are going to probably come back into these pre-market levels.
Lion here saying app wants to take off. Here is app. This does, I was seeing some option flow in here, but you know what? I can't determine if that was. Let me see. Now with the filters applied, let me see what else I can do here, Lion.
And there's the downside in GPUS. So 950 was a good spot. Couldn't recapture it, or couldn't actually capture it. Just only traded. It went like one or two prints above it, but lost altitude, lost VWAP. Now it's coming down to some support levels. Or first one I see is going to be 825. After that, you might get some support, probably around 750, 775.
Which ticker is this?
That was what was one I was talking about? GPUs.
GPUS.
Mm-hmm.
Lion, all I see for app really today is call buying. Now, some of them were in the money calls, so that might be profit taking, and I'm unsure about how much we can take away from that. But as far as the unusual or aggressive options trading, it is almost predominantly calls. Now, HIMS, Aries Stocks mentioning that HIMS is going higher. They did an offering here. So I had asked you folks earlier, hey, what's the deal here on HIMS? Is this a buyable dip? And sure enough, it looks like it is. This traded all the way down to 50, held 50. Now higher we go here.
Zekin's still trying to break that trend line. See if it can do it.
166, the VWAP snap to the downside is what would tell me that something is changing here. We'll see if we end up getting that. Yankee Clipper reminding us that we need coal for steel production. I think that's the clean coal that they're talking about, coking coal.
Yeah, coking, yep. Well, there's also some coal-fired power plants that were slated to be retired that are getting their life extended.
Okay, but we're not opening new ones because China is opening new coal-fired power plants, and I don't believe the U.S. is.
I don't know about opening new ones, but yes, I know China is still doing that at a pretty large rate.
This Zekin, man, this is a battle.
Yeah.
This is a battle.
It's starting to get boring.
Yeah, here's an app to someone selling 4 of the 280 calls. That was, oh gosh, even just 4 contracts. I mean, 280. That is 70 points in the money.
Seeing a lot of these names we were looking at this morning try to turn around. Rocket Lab, WGRX, both trying to turn around. ASST doesn't seem like it's found the bottom quite yet.
The trade desk. Hey, did we finally bottom here? So, Lion, weren't you talking about wanting to trade this ticker TTD, the trade desk? I'll tell you what, it sure looks like our bottom is in here. Doesn't it? I'm actually seeing some call flow here to the upside too. TTD.
Izzy saying Disney, wow, this thing is having a really good morning. Gapped up, still running up here. Might find resistance at, what is this level here? 106?
Yep, 106, 107, yep.
Yeah, if it breaks through that, then maybe this finds resistance around 112. Zekin's still holding up here. It's like it really wants to break this trend line. The buyers Buyers are really trying to make this happen.
No position for me on Zekin, FYI. I'm just kind of watching it with you here.
Yeah, it's entertaining. GPUs trying to come back here after hitting 841. Recaptured its VWAP. See if it can hold.
Tesla, that initial pop getting sold, we've retraced 55% of that pop so far. Also notably here, I'll tell you what, the VIX has really been getting melted in the mornings recently. VIX is actually ticking up here. The lows were put in the pre-market. So I wonder if we're going to get any type of VIX curl here.
All right, Zekin is starting to weaken.
Here, I'm going to leave Zekin up. I'm going to step away for just 1 sec. All right, 13?
Sounds good. Meanwhile, we have ASST trying to get support from the 65 EMA. WGRX is trying to turn around and recapture its 65 EMA. Rocket Lab is trying to do the same thing, only with its 200 EMA. NBIS, this one from yesterday, went down to its 200 EMA on the 5-minute, found a low of 27.30, blasted off through VWAP and all the other EMAs we look at, all the way almost through the entirety of the pre-market price action that we had here. Looks like we're getting at a point where we could see a breakout, but that's not really moving too much at the moment. GPUs back down to testing the VWAP. MACD is starting to curl. I'd have to think that this one, unless we start to see more volume expansion, because it is fading, unless we get some more volume expansion, I think this one's going to come down some more, maybe even lose. Probably going to come down to 825. Let's see what happens down there, but it looks like it's beginning to roll over here. Ed Edwards, you're saying bull, the bull run to 20? Let's see. Bull run to 20. Bring it up in my broker too. Well, first thing we need to do is we need to get back above 17, not too far away. Then once we do that, let me look at another time frame here. looking, gosh, this is so little data. It's hard to kind of really get a reliable level with this one. So back to some smaller time frames, and it's like 1764. That was yesterday's high, so I'd be keeping an eye on that level. There's a lot of resistance in the 17 handle. We had resistance in the pre-market from Monday as well, up at that almost that exact same area. So that's probably why we didn't go too far beyond 1740 yesterday. I guess I would be keeping an eye on that area between 1740 and 1765. See if we can get through that. If we do, 20's probably on deck. Oh, MLGO late run. Late run MLGO. Oh, here we go. It's come up to the consolidation from yesterday. In the morning, we sold off, and then it went sideways from about 10:30 to 11:15 before it's resumed its downside. So we've come up to that consolidation area. Just need to move through that. Looks like $3 is the area to take out, just like that. Just took it out, those sellers there. If this continues to go on a run, I think we could see 350. Look at this XIII consolidation. Just, man, it just can't seem to decide where it wants to go. Ivan, you're mentioning Trade Desk, TTD. That's going on a little move up here. This is what we want to see. You know, if you're in this and you're looking, you're long for even the shorter long term. This is what you want to see. We've moved over that 50-day SMA, starting to go higher now. The next area I'd be watching for resistance is going to be $63. All right, so here we go with some more market polling. It looks like. Let's go to a different time frame here. XIII is ridic. Yeah, it is ridic. It's not doing much of anything, and it looks like it still could start to fall as folks get tired of trying to make this thing break out. It's losing its VWAP now, or it was. Okay, so here's, so the market's still selling off here. Doesn't look like, let me see here. Doesn't look like we're ready for, directional ETFs quite yet. Let's see, we're at, I have my VWAP for TQQQ at 58.96. We'll just call it 59. And we're just about 50 cents away from that. So we need another $1 at the most before we can really get a good trade on TQQQ.
Okay.
GPUs went.
Did it? Going back to that? Sorry.
Well, it's right back up to that area. So here, this next test, if this volume holds or it continues to expand, we could break through 950.
All right, let me catch up with the chat here. Netflix seems like buyers are exhausted, says Michael. That would be something because Netflix has just continued to outperform. But you're right here. This a little rough there.
While you were gone, MLGO started going, and we're looking at 350 as a potential area where it might run up to if the volume holds. So far, we're getting a little bit of a pullback here, but we'll see. That's kind of where I would be looking at. Market's continuing to go lower here, but that's what I would be looking at with the MLGO if it finds some support right about here, I guess.
Now, we're getting, I don't see anything on CNBC. So it's what? It's 10:12 a.m. Weren't we supposed to have the press conference about the deal at 10?
Well, we are getting a big sell-off here, so I don't know if that's off of anything that's happening with regard to the news you're talking about. Wow. Okay. Well, there it is. XIII couldn't break out, and now we're knifing. So that's what we were talking about here. Just couldn't break out.
Unreal.
And this is what was going to happen. So You needed to, I mean, I was saying it, raise your stops so that if this happens, you're not.
Yeah, you were. And you were also very clear that like it really needed to go above that.
Yep.
It really needed to move above that level and clear it. And it didn't. And that was our trigger.
Yep. Yes, sir. But we are getting some good movement down with DQQQ. We're getting pretty close to being $1 away from VWAP. Oh, it just kind of gave a little bounce there. But I still think there could be some more downside coming.
Okay. I'm going to keep rolling through some of these tickers here. Twin V Power Cats, ticker VEEE. That actually might be going here. Power Cats. That's funny. Sezzle. This thing has been a monster. New highs on Sezzle.
Power Cats. Oh, no, it's the Thundercats. But still.
I watched that show when I was younger.
Oh, same.
Thundercats. Oh, yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons during the 80s.
Oh, God. Life was simpler back then, wasn't it?
Hey, here's an interesting thing that's happening here. NBIS might have a breakout coming.
CEG puts coming across the wire. Google, that's GOOGL puts coming across the wire. How's GOOG doing?
GPUs
all right.
broke over 950 and hit 994, but guess what? It still hasn't closed above 950 yet, although this candle is got about 45 seconds left in it, so this could be the candle that does it. Could be. All right.
More TTD calls, by the way. That stock's up 4% here. Earnings after the close today. Boy, I kind of want to.
Oh, City Slicker. Sanctuary City Slicker. I watched He-Man. I watched Voltron. I watched Silverhawks.
You remember Mighty Max?
Mighty Max, Johnny Quest. All those shows. Good times.
Those were good times. Simpler times, like I said. Premiums are jacked on the trade desk. Good Lord. In fact, the implied volatility for the contract expiring tomorrow, 306%.
We're getting a He-Man movie production, actually. Okay, MLGO might start to get going again. But yeah, there's like a He-Man movie, I think, that's being made. I know that we had one before. It was like the Masters of the Universe movie. But they're supposed to be making another one. I forget who's. Let me see here.
Jane, taking a look at Pony. What's Pony doing? That's that AI mover that's been great for us recently. Wow, another 11% on Pony. Smoke Tuna, are you out there? Have we seen Smoke Tuna yet today? I don't think so. His call on Pony AI was really, really good. That was really, really good. Jane, I'm glad you're working this one.
So here's a cast of the movie, the He-Man movie they're making. I know it's not related to the market, but we're talking about it. Nicholas Galitzine is going to be He-Man. Jared Leto is going to be Skeletor. Idris Elba is going to be Man-at-Arms. Morena Baccarin is going to be Sorcerer. And Alison Brie is Evelyn. Camila Mendes is Tila. So pretty good lineup. That's going to be interesting. I want to see Jared Leto as Skeletor. That'd be pretty great.
Skeletor.
Who the hell is going to play He-Man? I just mentioned his name here. I don't remember how much he's or what he's been in, but it's Nicholas Galitzine.
By the way, this for whatever it's worth, this report comes from Charles Gasparino. This is regarding the trade deal. Wall Street execs with ties to the White House tell me that the India-Pakistan tensions slowed the trade pact with India, and that's the reason that the UK is coming first. Deals on deck also include South Korea and Japan, where talks are moving along. I also saw a report here via CNN that the 10% tariff level on the UK would be left in the deal.
I thought that all the tariffs were going to get left. It's just a matter of how much they're going to be.
Yep. I think there were a lot of people trying to call Trump's bluff on that, but doesn't look like it. We'll see. Market is lower here. What did I miss?
STFU had a hot take, and it's actually not a bad one. I think there were so many today. There are a lot of people still sipping over her. It's pretty hilarious.
I don't even know what you're talking about, and frankly, I'm probably
Chitara?
pretty good.
Chitara
Yeah, I don't.
from Thundercats?
I don't remember. You're talking about. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not
Come on,
even going to get
dig
into it.
your childhood a little bit.
Anyway, okay, let's keep moving along here with what's going on. Now, market is trying to bounce a little bit here. We'll see VEEV new highs. That has set new highs since we checked on it last. ASST came in, did not quite hit that trend line 13, but came in from it. NVAX, this was another big mover there in the pre-market. This actually setting up to take out its VWAP. NVAX. MLGO, previous runner. This is starting to get a little poppy on volume, but I don't see anything great there. Also, by the way, Pony AI, we were just talking about that, seeing more call flow here on Pony AI. The 1750 calls expires next week. Looks like that is a short-term 200 lot of those calls.
Okay, so GPUs still.
I won't, Crow. I won't. Don't worry about that.
Don't go down the furry rabbit hole.
I'm not. Look, like I said.
Yeah, I don't
watched
understand
that cartoon when I was younger. You know, I didn't. You know, not for the female cat character. That's
here we go. NBIS breaking the trend line. This was a nice one.
NBIS, huh? I don't even think I've pulled that up here today.
That was a mover from yesterday.
Yeah, and we're right at the highs from the pre-market. Look at that.
Yep. After we had a bounce off the 200 EMA, that was down at 27.30, and we just hit a high of 28.30. So let me see, 28.27. So pretty much a dollar move right there. All right, looks like Zekin is not done. It's beneath VWAP right now, but it looks like it's trying to recover. Man, these how do you feel about this morning? Has it been, kind of lackluster? There's been some good names, there's been some things, but it seems like it hasn't been as concentrated as it was earlier this week when we had more things to trade.
Yeah, I'll say this. First of all, I'm not thrilled with the movers today. There's really none that have tickled my fancy, you might say. Yeah. We have not yet seen a suitable setup on the SQQQ or the TQQQ. The TQQQ today would be the one that I'm waiting out. The other thing here about the market, I actually came in to today with several positions from yesterday. I came in with a Google long. I came in with an SQQQ calls. So long SQQQ. And I also still carried that CEP short. So I was waiting for a couple of things to shake out here this morning. And they're moving, but doing so slowly. So I don't really feel great about anything yet today for new trades. We'll see how this shakes out. I also want to see more about the whole trade deal thing, right? Like I want to see how does the market respond to this? What do they say? What goes on from here? And we don't have it yet.
ASST with a massive move to the upside is now halted. Meanwhile, WGRX breaking down and halted.
Okay, so our HaltFest stocks are giving it to us. Here is now that ASST move went right through the VWAP there. Mm-hmm. Now you said WGRX was, oh my God, look at this. What I hope nobody traded this one. I shouldn't say that. I hope nobody got hit by this one here. This thing was a double. This thing doubled from yesterday's closing price in the pre-market. Now it's gone negative.
Yeah.
Crimp Biscuit saying I'm trying some WGRX here.
Okay.
See if it does that. Luke wondering if ASST can break the highs. Luke, I'll say this. I don't know if it's going to, but can it? Yeah, dude. It actually did that yesterday, right? We had a nice little move out of the gate. Then it backed off of that. Then it snapped those highs. I mean, yeah, this can do it. Let's see what happens here out of the hall. It's going to need volume to get back to this high and snap it. But can it? I don't see why it can't. Hasn't started really breaking down yet.
Who you're saying is going to try some WGRX?
Crimp Biscuit.
Okay. Oh, he just did try
I
some.
call him Crimp Biscuit because it's just easier
Yeah.
for me to say. It's not what his name is.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering what his exit price was. I mean, at this stage, you have this situation of being beneath a lot of the consolidation over the past pretty much this entire week. So recapturing that might be a bit of a daunting task.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
SDFU, this is currently halted.
But let's see. I mean, WGRX is got a very low float, so it could just completely turn around. And well, you know what? That's interesting. I got a float read on Pro of 27 million, but on my broker it's 900K. Okay. Don't know why
We're starting to get some deals. We're starting to get some information out here. I'll read it to you as I see it. U.S. to cut tariffs on UK-made cars to 10%. U.S. to cut tariffs on UK-made cars. UK-U.S. deal to cut beef tariffs to close to zero. Okay, so it's being dripped out here.
That's fine. Make some deals.
Yeah, I was going to say S&P futures are popping here. They're still lower. Well, they're higher on the day, but they're lower from the pre-market highs. But they are trading up currently. Ivan here mentioning Lantheus, LNT, that's ticker LNTH, 78.95. Okay, so this dipped back into the 70 handle. Is anyone loading this yet? Jay, looking at you mostly. How about you, Ivan? You taking Lantheus? What a move down here this thing is. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't see this move in the market being that strong right now.
Me either.
Okay. I think this needs to get back above 565 if we're going to see any kind of decent upside movement. It still looks like it's in the downtrend. But don't worry, I think this is going to really set us up nicely for a TQQQ trade later on. Okay, so MLGO just came back down to VWAP. I'm not trading this, but I'm kind of curious as if we're going to get a bounce here or try to trade back up. 307 is the high for the current session. Looks like
sorry, I'm still trying to piece part through stuff here.
It's okay. Let's see. The 200 EMA on the SPY is a nice positive concavity. All right. Arm rolling upwards, says Charles. NVAX above VWAP. SPY is starting to go parabolic.
I mean, it's bouncing. I don't know about parabolic, though.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't broken the downtrend that it's in yet.
No, Jay, I did not see your earlier post. You had said, Lantheus, don't buy it yet. It needs a lot of time. What are you waiting for on that? Well done, Anthony. Have a great day. Anthony, you're going to get a register ring for that. Have a great one.
All right, so Zekin is now starting to trade beneath its 65 EMA. I think this is probably going to end up coming down to about 145.
This ARM, we took a look at this in the pre-market earlier. ARM, this is 7 points up off the low. 7. So this has actually had a pretty good morning here so far. Lion Atlas mentioning Webull. For me on Bull here, ticker BULL really needs to move through 17, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
WGRX resumed and went lower. Yikes. Whoever was trading this to the Crimp Biscuit, whoever it was trading this one to the long side, just have your plan in place. This thing's been nasty today.
Yeah, it's probably going to go down to 325.
Here's your 1 minute chart for the SPY. You can see this has just been a ferocious bounce back to the VWAP.
I'm looking on the 5 minute, and there's this trend line that I've got drawn, and it is hitting it right now. Okay. Currently doing a Zekin kind of deal. Let's see if it can be like Zekin or be the exception and break out.
This is interesting. I missed this earlier. Seeing this news now. This is just in. This comes from X Bitcoin Magazine. Japanese public company MetaPlanet CEO says there's going to be a quote tidal wave end quote of more companies buying Bitcoin. So I've actually been seeing that recently in some of these smaller stocks. We've traded a few of them. Getting that from a Japanese CEO of MetaPlanet. I don't know who it is, but we are seeing that.
Okay, well, so far, SPY is hitting this trend line, and it's facing a little bit of rejection, but not going down quite yet. Should see ASST on halt pretty soon. MLGO is it's falling down. It's doing MLGO things. Looks like Bull is trying to push up to 17, albeit very slowly. And everything else appears to be sideways. GPUs, I think, it could be done here. I think the next candle will tell us if that's the case or not.
GPUS. Here, let me put that up here. Sorry, I've been looking around.
Yeah, hey, I saw that folks were mentioning kids earlier. That really didn't get going, did it? But it is up 13%. What else? Solar Edge up, went up to 1668. Starting to look like this may come back down under VWAP. I'm just looking around too, looking for something that looks interesting or has a setup.
Yeah, me too. But you know what, 13? So while I'm looking here, I'm not going to be tricked. I am going to remain patient if I have to. Trump's statement pushed back now, 10:45. That's 15 minutes from now.
Let's see if
that makes sense why we haven't really been seeing anything here. Now, market, so that you know what else that means is that the market is bouncing in anticipation of this. I gave you a couple of things that are supposed to be out of this deal. Let's not let's wait for the actual conference or the press conference here. Excuse me.
GPS with more GPUS. I mean, with
that's
more
pulling
selling
here. That might be exhausted now. Volume kind of tells us this is a bit exhausted as well.
MACD is also across to the downside. We're going to, probably see some more selling here after we get a VWAP rejection. That'd be the next price action I'd be anticipating.
I'm going to make another run through the list here as soon as I get this eyelash out of my eye, whatever that is. XIII continuing to print higher here. Big winner from Tim Melvin a long time ago. V, whoever traded this, the Power Cats, Thundercats, and all the other cats. V here went right to the pre-market high, almost as if we knew that was going to happen. Almost as if we called that one. V here, double top on this 5-minute chart.
You are right, Lion. They do report after hours today.
Who? Coinbase?
Yes.
After hours today, we have TTD, Coin, DKNG, NET, Mara, Sound, Affirm, Wolf, Pinterest, CleanSpark, Rocket Lab, Toast and HubSpot. Excuse me. That was weird inflection.
Rocket Lab with a big move happening now, coming up to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. That's at 2271.
Look at QBTS.
Yeah.
This was good mention here, STFU. This thing on earnings, this actually dipped. This had to have been profit takers. And this got bought right back up with a volume pop taking us to new highs.
Well, Bitcoin was ripping today, right? Kind of a risk on day.
It was earlier. It did get above 100K on the futures chart, but it backed off that spot pretty quickly. Jacob, good morning, Jacob. Mentioning ASST here. Look at this. Oh my God, 13.
Yep.
ASST.
That's what I'm talking about.
ASST. Wow, Jacob. I don't even know if I could say it any better than that. I'll be honest with you. Here we go.
That was a nice move.
Yeah, Jay here. Affirm it's at HOD here. It should do well. Do with Dave and Sezel.
Yeah, that was a really nice move in ASST, but I don't know that I'd be messing with this anymore. We're getting to the point where the volume's going to start leaving the market. It is 1032. If it keeps going, great. Absolutely great if it does. As a matter of fact, it could. I think you had a trend line drawn where it could continue to run up to.
Yeah.
I'd say that's entirely possible. But that big move that we just got, I think that was what a lot of us were waiting for.
Luke, taking gains on that nice move. Look, when you get moves like this, Luke, I think that's well done. Sell into that move. As long as you're in a profit there, sell into that move. That makes a lot of sense to me. SSYS, look at this. They had earnings here. The stock moved from a 970 handle up above 11. This thing up 17%.
SPY broke over that trend line that I had drawn, so we've broken the downtrend. Let's see this recapture 665. If we do that, then we could continue to run up to maybe 650, where we have this sideways consolidation from the pre-market.
Here's your SPY chart. I almost, not really.
WGRX open and lower still.
Nasty. Nasty action on WGRX. I'm glad I didn't even touch that thing today.
GPUs with a bounce here, trying to get back above VWAP. It currently is trading above it, but the volume is not what it was earlier in this morning. I don't know that this holds up. I'd be very cautious about it. Here we go. SPY 665. Just got that. Let's see if we can close above it on this 5-minute candle.
EQQQ also moving towards the highs.
Right to VWAP. Now, the thing about the TQQQ, I don't think that was nearly enough of a move for me to be interested in it. It was $1, but we were looking for $1.50, right? So maybe we do get some more downside following this rally. Otherwise, we can just keep an eye on the SQQQ and see if that goes to 115 to 125 away from its VWAP.
We'll see. We'll see if that changes here. Lion, no, I had mentioned earlier, I guess you weren't here again. I did not get a fill on XRP, SOL, or BTC. Those were the 3 orders that I was waiting for. None of them filled.
Ooh, nasty knife on bull. Took it down almost near the lows, but definitely down to the consolidation from the after hours yesterday.
This is looking heavy. This actually looks like this wants to roll over too. I've got a trend line here down in the 14 handle. I think probably gets tested.
Ooh, that would be quite bad. I think we'll see. I think there was a nice move just a second ago there. 1575 looks like the next support area for Webull. Well, maybe 16, but somewhere between there, 1575 and well, maybe not 16. But 1575 certainly looks like an area I'd be keeping an eye
on. Go Steve, good question here. Have we done a net earnings preview? I may start averaging in. No, Steve, we haven't. Let me see if I can dig up an article for that.
That is NET, that's Cloudflare, right?
Yeah, Cloudflare.
Okay, so they have earnings today.
Yep.
What's interesting is that 133, maybe 130, maybe 132.75. What is this high here? 132.41. Let's just call it 132.50. That looks like an interesting spot where the price could run up to if we do get a good print.
There's Smoke Tuna. Good morning, Smoke Tuna. By the way, Smoke Tuna, I gave you flowers earlier. I don't think you were here on your call on Pony AI. You were the one really kind of banging the table here days ago when this thing first started making its move. Here we are days and days later. This thing is making yet another move here. We were actually above 17 earlier. This was a really good call on this. This was a really, really good call.
Well done, Crop. Well done, me, on your trade with ASST. Daniel, I totally agree. This would be a pretty unfortunate spot to start buying. You don't want to be buying at the end of rallies. Wait for some pullbacks. Wait for it to set up before it does this. The opportunity to get in was when it was still under 6. I wouldn't be buying up here. Wait for the weakness to provide a bottom for you.
Yeah, definitely don't buy near the top of the trend line. Mm-hmm. Definitely. This is where you should be selling this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so Rocket Lab pulling. SPY polling. Jesus, did it really? Okay, that's hilarious.
What happened?
So the SPY, I was talking about it getting up to over 65, 565. We have a previous all-time high of 565 and 16 cents. That's exactly where this last 5-minute candle went up to. These previous all-time highs, they're still hitting them. There's still support and resistance. That's why I still have them on my chart after, in some cases, over a year now. Don't look now, but XIII is trying to recover. It's coming back up to VWAP. If it recaptures VWAP, this might be the move that takes it over the trend line that we have. Wow.
Pony called it. Spoke to us says Pony called it at 4. Slow and steady rise. There you go. Go Steve asking about an earnings preview here for Net. We don't really have one. I did find an article here that was talking about some of the data that we can go over. But otherwise, I would probably just have 13 take a look at the chart. We can determine what we see based on the chart here.
Yeah, I was saying that I like that at 132.50 area.
This article here said the most aggressive two-leg strategy that makes the most sense is the 127-133 bull call spread expiring tomorrow.
Okay, so that's perfect. That's right in the middle of where I'm thinking it will go.
Okay.
It says 133. I said 132.50. Perfect.
There you go.
If we break out of there, I even could see resistance kicking in at 140. I don't think it'll get up there. It'd have to be some pretty amazing comments or guide. But I think you're more than likely on a good earnings report, you're going to see a move up to 132.50 in that area. I believe it.
Okay, and then that trader there saying that the call spread makes the most sense here. Here's where this looks like the area that we really need to get above here really does seem to be 127.
NBIS knifing now. So that provided a really good trade, but now that trade is over. So yeah, TQQQ definitely not ready to go yet, and it's probably going to make some new session lows here. I'd be watching for a break beneath 58. What would the price be if it got down to here? Okay, so this is gonna be great. I think if the TQQQ falls down to the after hours consolidation in a pretty in a short amount of time, like we just get like some pretty nasty selling that takes
basically another dollar from here.
Yeah, I think that because this was a very, very similar setup to what we got yesterday. Because remember, I was talking about how we needed to fill a gap. We traded down all the way down that yesterday, hit that gap, and then we turned around and we broke out of a falling, broadening wedge. I think we're going to probably see something quite similar to that, but with the after hours and pre-market price action. So this gap that was created overnight, I think that can fill down to the the after hours level, which would put it about 57.50. So I think once we get down there, if we get down there quick enough, that might be the spot to go long on TQQQ. That's what I'm watching for. So put a line there, 57.50.
I don't see anything else crazy appearing on the relative volume scanner here today. App tried to go earlier but couldn't. Carvana was the other one I wanted to check on real quick. CVNA. Looks like that did resolve higher here, but it's been kind of a slow grind.
Crow, you still looking for XIII to break out? Got to get if we're going to get $2, we got to get over this VWAP again. I mean, what's your VWAP at right now that I mentioned?
On XIII? Let me load it up here real quick. God, what on earth is going on with my entry search bar here? XIII, my VWAP 165.
Okay, I'm at 166. So that's
we're the same, I think, on that one.
That's good enough for me.
And it's the trend line that we put on here has really been the very clear level on this. It has stayed under that trend line the entire day.
MLGO gave back everything on that move that made it 10 o'clock this morning. Just kind of give
Ryan saying, I'm focusing on TTD. The chart looks yummy. How are you playing TTD for the earnings? What position is it that you have? I can't remember.
The Great Barry says that he's an ASST man. He's an asset man. He sees.
I see what he did there.
Yeah, I get you, buddy. He sees $20 by the end of the month, so he wouldn't short this. I'm not saying short it. I just because I love going long versus going short, but with this move here, I'm just saying that for the purpose of the day trade today, this might be about all we're getting, at least for now. Certainly could come back later on in the day, but I'd like to see this pull back some more. We don't want to be buying. I still don't think this is a really good spot to buy for a day trade. Maybe for your end of the month play, it's still perfectly fine. But I'm not going to be holding this till the end of the month, so I'll probably just end up day trading it. Maybe I'll take a small position just for funsies. But I think for day trading, just in and out is perfectly fine.
And I'll tell you what, the trend has remained our friend here as this has hit that trend line yet again. That has been really, I tell you what, the trend lines on some of these big movers and the TQQQ, SQQQ repeatable pattern, that has been the moneymaker, consistent these last few weeks.
They've been pretty dang good. So you got ML.
Yeah, here's another thing, Jay. This is something that I've been looking at here too. Crocs Report and SKX Buyout are saying that the tariffs are not as bad as thought. I know that's an unpopular opinion here. That's going to affect Boot, Deckers, VFC, Nike, and ON. I like this thought here real quick. Boot Barn seems to always beat and go higher. Thing's an absolute monster. Deckers, which is one we talked about recently here. This is going to be Uggs and what was the Hoka? Maybe there are trades here. Jay, are you trading any of these? By the way, the Deckers EPS, this is unconfirmed for a couple of weeks here from today. Thursday, May 22nd. If we take a look at what they did previously, I think they're right around this area. Yeah, they did it on May. Oh, that was this year. Sorry. They did it on May 23rd last year.
ASST just printed a new high, 750 exactly, but it's just another one of these candles that has a large upper shadow. That's great if you're still holding this and trading it. I don't want to be buying up here. I would not do it. I would wait for a better setup. Congratulations to anybody that's still holding this and selling into the strength, though.
Boot Barn, next Wednesday, this company reports earnings. What does the 120 call on Boot look like? 120 call for May on Boot, 460. That's a little too expensive for such a short amount of time, he thinks.
Thanks, producer. The Trump announcement is now pushed back another 15 minutes.
Okay, so basically, you guys are going to be on your own here. The deal announcement has been pushed back past the end of this show. Lion says, I'm in a leap call on TTD, and I've been buying the stock as well. Okay, so you're long equity. What is the strike and expiry of the leap that you're in?
Brian Milligan is saying MP is waking up, MP Materials. So, this is one that's probably going to end up doing well whenever there's any mention of mineral deals or mining. I need to find it, but I saw some news articles about the importance of copper and how crucial it is and how much demand the rest of the world has for copper, and now we're leading to shortages as a result of the tariff trade war. Tariff trade war.
Like what? What's a tariff?
Tariff? Well, because it's a face-off with tariffs.
I hear you clucking, big chicken.
Oh, perfect. So we're streaming the announcement. So stick around and watch it.
Absolutely. Be right back.
No worries.
All right. BRB is what I tried to say, but then now I've lost my mouse.
BRB. Gotcha. So this market really looking a little tired here. Oh, Zekin. That's not what we wanted to see as a crow. So here we go. More of this out of Zekin. It should be peaking, but it's not. So what are we looking at here? Maybe another test of this 200 EMA. I have that value at 145. That doesn't seem like too bad of an area. You scalped kids? Jeez, Izzy. Oh, the stock. Gotcha. Let's take a look at kids and see how they're doing without hair. Oh, look at this. Nice move. Coming up to the lows. So this is interesting. We're really close to the sideways price action we were getting before we dropped beneath $6. $6, really important level here for resistance. It's going to take a little bit of time to chew through that, though. There's really a lot of potential sellers between here and 8. Hey, take care, Rich.
Take care of yourself, Judge. Great to see you again. Keep putting positivity into the universe, Judge. Lion here, you're in the 80 leap that expires January of 2026. Did I get that right? 2026. Wow.
ASST still going higher. This, this could still push into the 8s at this rate, but not going to chase. If you feel comfortable scalping it, do what you want to do, but just understand how this could really pull back on us quickly.
Tommy says, I like that line. I hear you clucking, big chicken. Interestingly enough, funny story about that line. I had a English teacher in my senior year of high school, and she was a young, very attractive woman, and she said that, and that is one of the things that I remember back from that. It was one of my favorite sayings. I hear you clucking, big chicken. She would always drop it at exactly the right time. I mean, her timing was something to admire. Shout out. Antoinette was her name, actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It was her first name. 13, did you want to talk about that BTMD stock that we talked about on Happy Hour at all? We didn't look at that yet today.
I sold it at the open because it was I didn't know if it was going to go any higher than the 385, but it had a good earnings report. This was actually the third profitable earnings report they've had in the company's history, so that was interesting. But they've had large EPS beats like this before. Only to another month or another quarter or two later, they have like a large EPS miss. But this is their third quarter in a row of showing profitability. So one more, and we might actually get some more funds looking at this one, because this is in a really interesting space. We were talking about this, how they provide those testosterone hormonal supplements for menopausal women. And I know it's a very sensitive subject, so I'm not going to really get into too much. But there's folks that have been swearing by that treatment, and it could really get going here. So something to definitely take a look at. Now, I'll probably end up going long on this another time once it pulls back here, but that was a really good earnings trade. I had to think that with all the insider buying, something was coming.
Yeah, and so good stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, Gary wants crazy levels on ASST. Well, guess what?
13 will oblige. Is that what we guess?
I will provide. Okay.
Tom, you opened old wounds earlier when you mentioned Michael Jordan coming to town to play the Knicks and pimp slapping. I did say that earlier, didn't I? He sure did take the air out of the Garden when he came to town. One of the most memorable times in sports was the double nickel game at the Garden and the game where he put Oakley and Ewing in the spin cycle and dunked over both of them on the baseline. That entire era, Tom, is one of the reasons why I absolutely love sports to this day. I'm sorry for opening the old wounds. I was not trying to do that.
ASST crazy levels. I like 1050, 14, and 1750. How's that? For
which stock?
ASST.
Okay. Wow. Oh, those are crazy levels, aren't they?
Yep. And there's one more really super obnoxious crazy level. We won't even get into it yet because we got to see these other crazies. Yeah.
we won't get into it yet.
Yeah, we gotta get through 1750 first, and then we can talk about 35.
Fair. Trump is talking here. I see they're carrying it on CNBC. I can't hear what he's saying. I'll let you know if I hear anything out of this.
So far, market reaction doesn't seem to be too exciting right now.
Oh,
Maybe
U.S.
He hasn't quite said something yet, I think.
Yeah, Trump, UK will fast track U.S. goods through customs. So we had talked about a framework. I know a lot of folks are concerned about the ports being empty and all of the stuff that's going to lead to. One of the takeaways just already here is that it looks like they're aware of that, which is one of the reasons they're going to fast track some of this stuff when they do make a deal. And I think that will also probably lend itself to other countries wanting to make deals sooner rather than later, in particularly China. That's just a guess. I could easily be wrong. Trump heard you were still broadcasting and decided to speak. I would be dead if Trump did anything that had to do with me. He didn't even know I exist, my man.
NBIS with a nice bounce off the 200 EMA again. Twice today now. Hasn't gone on to 2830 where it ran up to, but still that 200-day SMA, 200 EMA on the 5-minute, really providing a lot of support. Whoa, big old move down in SPY. Okay, so now it's time.
Okay, so what was said here then? That was a little bit of a fallout there. Deal includes planes to bring UK into economic security alignment with the US.
Okay.
So weren't you saying that this might be a sell the news? Who was that was saying it?
What?
That the trade deals might be sell the news. Was that Andy or was that you?
I think Andy was saying that, and I believed I agreed with that.
So far, that looks to be the case. Okay, Kevin, take care of yourself, man. We always appreciate you, buddy.
Everything knifing? Oh, yeah. It's going to be finding some buying opportunities.
I see the SPY trading down. I mean, is that? I don't think everything else is knifing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Bitcoin, at least on the futures chart, that did trade above 100K. It's there right now. See if it holds it there.
All right. I'm just waiting for this 5750 area to get hit. That should be about where we are going to get, at least I would think, a potential bounce to trade. We're looking at
which one?
TQQQ.
Oh, TQQ. I'm sorry. I was looking at the SPY still. I was like, 557. That's a ways off. But here, I love it. I love we're setting up for the TQQQ here. VWAP at 58.78. Yeah, you're right.
57.50 is where I'm looking at. I'm going to be picking some up in that area. I don't know if it's going to hit that level exactly, so I do kind of like leave some orders around where I think it's going to go. So hopefully I'll get a fill.
VIX is up a little bit here, but it's only at 23.5. It is up off of today's lows. The final details will be written up in the coming weeks. UK Prime Minister, I guess, is on the phone. UK Prime Minister said that Trump's trade negotiation team was, quote, extremely professional, and thanking them.
STF saying open knifed ZAPP says Crow is a penny runner. I'm not looking at it, so I don't know if it's up or down.
Oh gosh, I lost track of the time. We are almost done here today.
Oh, perfect.
I feel like we blinked and today's show went by. That's wild. ZAPP getting mentioned. Okay, so this is going here. This is the penny runner.
Okay, so I didn't get everything that I wanted filled with TQQQ. It looks like it might be trying to bounce right now. Shoot.
I was just going to say that was pretty good if you did get that.
I didn't get all my orders filled, but I got a little piece. So we'll see how much I get out of this move. I was looking for 57.50. So I just started putting orders out around that price. Sometimes you're never going to get the exact hit. Other times you do.
Yeah, that's so I do the same thing, but I put them out in like multiple orders, like you were saying. Like I try to scale into that if I can.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not looking great for XIII. Losing its 200 EMA.
Okay, that pull there on SPY looks like so far it's done. That was just a little bit of a pull there.
Let's see.
Got held pretty good.
Yeah, that was only like $1.04 away from VWAP, so not enough, but still, like I just wish it was more. Dang it, because I loved how that was setting up for us. It just was too juicy to ignore. All right,
We'll have my SQQQ on in case this gets nasty here. All right, 13. Let's see. What time is it? All right.
About that.
13. Yeah, we've got a minute here. So I guess why don't we start wrapping here?
All right, Vanilla Ice, go.
Oh. Stop. Collaborate and listen. No, we're not gonna with a brand new edition. We're not gonna sing Vanilla Ice as I continue to do it here. Okay, wrap us up here, 13. We're gonna end this. We're gonna be back at this again tomorrow. No all access today. Nothing after us here. What do you got on deck here for today?
A little bit slow this morning, but we started picking up. That was a lot of fun with some of these names working out. So not so much some others. WGRX. But hey, you know what? Well, that's just part of the game. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll find some more movers. Hopefully, we won't have such a boring market, and we'll trade them. We'll make some money. It'll be a good time. Take care, everybody. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right, really good stuff there, 13. Take care of yourself. We will see you tomorrow. Folks, really good stuff here today. Let's see where we close. Remember, some of those closing levels are going to be important to stuff in the middle of the day. We'll see how it all shakes out. Pay attention to your closing levels. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused, and we'll see you tomorrow.